Welcome to Novel Love Hearing. We bring you hundreds of novel audiobooks covering every genre and every kind of story you can imagine. Action? We've got it. Adventure? Absolutely. Horror? Of course. Whether it's the legendary Uchiha massacre or outrageous tales like stealing Naruto's and Sasuke's women, you'll find it here. From epic series like One Piece, Bleach, Fairy Tail, and Hunter x Hunter, to countless other adventures, our library has it all. Love novels but don't have time to read? No worries, just plug in your earbuds, sit back, and let the story take over. Good listening, and happy hearing. Not killing a single enemy himself only made Miharu Uchiha's natural thirst for blood even more unbearable. Lord Shu, Toshimeki Yamanaka quietly asked, should we notify the rear base? Not yet. Hyuga Shu quickly identified the weakest area in Hidden Cloud's village as encirclement, then signaled and led his troops eastward in a breakout. We haven't inflicted enough damage on these Hidden Cloud's village savages yet, so it's still not the time for our decisive battle. Although Hidden Cloud's village's alert and defense system had prevented the possibility of being wiped out overnight by sharing intelligence efficiently, they were still caught completely off guard during Shu's breakout attempt due to their complete lack of knowledge regarding both the strength and numbers of Shu's Jonin unit. The Hidden Cloud's village ninjas, who had seemed ready for revenge, were instead brutally cut down, suffering heavy losses. Finally, Shu had gathered enough gold, 1,300 coins, to forge the Plate of the Dead, using his existing chainmail and plate with wings. Through this battle, Shu finally completed his 5th legendary item build. The remaining 120 gold coins couldn't purchase any usable component equipment, so he simply bought 2 life potions as reserves. Then, he led his Jonin unit back into stealth. Boom. Inside the hastily built Hidden Cloud's village central war tent, smashed the ironwood table into splinters with one punch, his face dark with fury. He was extremely dissatisfied with how the Hidden Cloud's village ninjas performed. You people. However, because the punch was too forceful, he aggravated wounds that hadn't fully healed yet. Immediately afterward, sharp pain erupted from his groin, causing his voice to tremble slightly. To the Hidden Cloud's village Jonin under his command, though, it sounded like their commander had become so angry that his voice trembled slightly. Phew. The central war tent remained silent for quite a while before he finally exhaled deeply. Yet compared with the physical pain, the humiliation surging inside him was even more unbearable. Jinchuriki. Huh? The Hidden Cloud's village Jonin were momentarily stunned. Deploy the Two-Tails Jinchuriki and transfer battlefield command to him until every last Hidden Leaf village rat has been exterminated. A's words almost seemed squeezed out between clenched teeth, filled with chilling killing intent between each line. But Lord, having a Jinchuriki command the ninja force might be against regulations. One Hidden Cloud's village Jonin spoke hesitantly. Besides, the Jinchuriki is merely a secret weapon. It might not be appropriate to place authority in his hands. Other Hidden Cloud's village Jonin nodded in agreement. Then tell me, if I entrust the ninja force to any one of you, can you guarantee successful elimination of those Hidden Leaf village pests? A countered coldly. The Hidden Cloud's village Jonin looked at each other, speechless. Frankly speaking, apart from some surviving Hidden Cloud's village ninja who had managed to escape during Hyuga Shu's breakout and left behind a few scattered words, they had practically no further knowledge about the current whereabouts of their missing Jonin unit that must be hiding somewhere within the Land of Lightning. With such a severe lack of intelligence, none of them dared to make bold promises. Understood. The Hidden Cloud's village Jonin then made the pragmatic choice. Just at this moment, the tent flap of the central war tent was abruptly lifted by a rushing in Hidden Cloud's village ninja. Lord A. Urgent report from the village. A Hidden Cloud's village Anbu ninja knelt on one knee before A, his voice brimming with excitement. According to latest information from our intelligence division, yesterday afternoon full-scale battle erupted between Hidden Leaf Village and Rain Country's forces under command of Sanzuo Hanzo. The disciple of the Hokage and Hidden Leaf Village's headquarters were utterly defeated. Truly blessed by the Sage of Six Paths. I immediately burst into joy. Head south now, Lord A. The Hidden Cloud's village Jonin pushed aside issues like eliminating rear enemies and Jinchuriki power grabs, and started urging A to launch an immediate decisive battle. No. Inhaled deeply, his face filled with delight. News of Hidden Leaf Village's defeat will definitely cause their morale to collapse. The initiative now rests firmly in our hands. The reinforcement unit from the village probably needs 3 more days, plus appropriate rest and reorganization, say about 5 days total. A murmured to himself, rapidly formulating a relatively complete plan in his mind. Meanwhile, the disregarded Hidden Cloud's village Jonin also came back to senses, holding their breaths while awaiting A's commands. Two-Tails Jinchuriki. Ignoring the rest of the Jonin, a turn toward an isolated Jonin in the corner, If you're put in charge of eradicating Hidden Leaf Village's infiltration unit, do you have confidence doing it yourself? I need 1,000 ninja and 3 days. The Two-Tails Jinchuriki directly stated his requirement. 1,500 ninja and 5 days, that's what I'm giving you. A declared without hesitation, I don't care about the process or casualty count. I want every damn Hidden Leaf Village rat dead. I will personally deliver the heads of the Hidden Leaf Village ninjas to you, Lord A. Chapter 137, The Calamity of the Tailed Beast. After breaking through Hidden Cloud's village's encirclement, Hyuga's Shu. Leading his unit into hiding. Fell completely silent. Apart from a daily report to the rear through Toshimeki Yamanaka, informing Sakamo Hatake. Who had recently led his forces into the land of rice fields and was waiting for the right moment to launch a full-scale attack. That headquarters remained safe, he stopped caring about anything else. And it was precisely this extreme restriction on ninjutsu and communication methods, combined with the power of the Hyuga Byakugan, that allowed them to evade capture. Even after 2 days of evasion, despite Hidden Cloud's village increasing patrols and chase squads, they still found nothing. Even during their transfers, Shu's Jonin unit passed within 500 meters of Hidden Cloud's village's mobile patrol teams. Sometimes close enough to touch. And remained undetected. So, after several exhausting days, the Hidden Cloud's village ninja force assigned to this eradication mission began to doubt. Had Hidden Leaf Village's infiltration team already left the country? Or were they operating somewhere else? Esteemed Jonin, should we expand our search area? Inside a wild cavern in southern Land of Lightning, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki stared at the map deep in thought, drawing a complete blank. One of his subordinates couldn't help but step forward with a suggestion. Do you have an issue with me? The Two-Tails Jinchuriki's eyes gleamed with eerie green light as he fixed a deadly stare upon this audacious ninja. In truth, regardless of village affiliations, Jinchuriki. Being volatile beings capable of causing irreparable damage to their home villages. Are naturally feared entities. Even Hidden Cloud's village, which has always emphasized unity as one, is no exception. Therefore, upon hearing the suggestion from his subordinate, the Two-Tails' immediate reaction was, he is defying me. And no. It's not like that at all, Two-Tails Jonin. The Hidden Cloud's village Jonin, who spoke out of personal experience and duty, instantly broke into a cold sweat under the Jinchuriki's death glare and stammered, I merely believe that since this group of Hidden Leaf Village ninja includes someone possessing the Byakugan KK Genkai from the Hyuga clan, perhaps we should. They're still in the southern region. Absolutely. They haven't left. The Two-Tails Jinchuriki declared decisively. But we've yet to discover any signs of foreign ninja activity whatsoever. Isn't it somewhat baseless to keep assuming that another Hidden Cloud's village Jonin also couldn't help interjecting? You truly plan to disobey my orders? Without showing any intention of listening, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki directly threatened them with an even colder tone. We dare not. We shall obey your will. Witnessing the blue flames beginning to flicker within the Jinchuriki's eyes, the previously speaking Hidden Cloud's village Jonin immediately swallowed back all explanations and respectfully bowed, showing complete submission. Otherwise, who could tell if this demon-like Jinchuriki wouldn't openly kill someone? The insistence of the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, serving as commander, proved effective. On the third day of the suppression operation, Hidden Cloud's village ninja forces first noticed an anomaly during their routine intelligence exchange. A unit had failed to respond. Then after dispatching elite forces to investigate, they discovered battle traces that had not yet been completely cleaned up. This strongly suggested that Hidden Leaf Village ninjas were still operating in the south of the Land of Lightning. It was very likely that this Hidden Cloud's village unit had accidentally stumbled upon something and was ambushed and wiped out entirely. Although no items identifying Hidden Leaf Village ninjas were found at the battlefield aside from numerous Hidden Cloud's village ninja corpses, by analyzing the widespread residual fire-style traces and lingering chakra signatures, Hidden Cloud's village quickly deduced the identities of both parties involved. The two Hidden Cloud's village Jonin's assessment wasn't wrong. A Hidden Cloud's village Jonin inhaled sharply. Have we underestimated these Hidden Leaf Village ninjas far too much? To silently eliminate a full squad-level ninja force without even allowing them to send out the simplest signal flare, and without nearby Hidden Cloud's village units noticing any abnormal chakra fluctuations. This was extremely terrifying. Quite frankly, any lone Hidden Cloud's village ninja out of visual range is almost certain to get boxed in and wiped out. Let's report to the commander then. Another Hidden Cloud's village Jonin licked his lips anxiously. Perhaps this is an elite force rivaling the Anbu, Hidden Leaf Village's elite Black Ops unit. The reason why Hyuga suddenly shifted tactics. From covert rear echelon infiltration to full-on aggressive assaults. Was because he received a battlefield report from Sakamo Hatake regarding Hidden Leaf Village's defeat in the Land of Rain. Although the Rain Country Expeditionary Force couldn't pursue due to a lack of command structure, Hidden Leaf Village ninja forces had begun withdrawing steadily since their central command structure had completely collapsed. Most crucially, Apart from the Sannin, Hidden Leaf Village's legendary 3, specially honored disciples of the Hokage, nearly all other personnel within the Expeditionary Command were either killed or wounded by Sanzuo Hanzo's indiscriminate deadly poison technique. Without restructuring this core leadership, coordinated operations would become impossible for the ninja forces. Although the Hokage's 3 apprentices survived the confrontation with Sanzuo Hanzo and were even granted the title of Sannin, the fact remained that they had lost the battle, period. No matter how many eloquent justifications one might conjure, they could never alter the reality or its consequences. This complete defeat delivered a heavy blow directly upon the Hokage faction, leaving the F4, being Hidden Leaf Village's top 4 elite shinobi, utterly bewildered and unsure of what steps to take next. Therefore, following this setback in the Land of Rain, emergency measures were needed to reinforce and solidify the defensive lines there as soon as possible. Meanwhile, support previously destined for Sakamo Hatake's Northern Front forces was inevitably reduced. After weighing pros against cons carefully, disregarding the potential risk of exposing his position, Sakamo Hatake immediately ordered Yamanaka clan's Jonin to establish forced communication via mind secret technique with Toshimeki Yamanaka under Hyuga's command. After informing him about the current situation, he issued orders demanding immediate escalation of attacks on Hidden Cloud's village forces, intending to lure them southward into a prearranged battlefield. As for the annihilated Hidden Cloud's village squad, they had the misfortune to set up camp for the night less than a kilometer away from Hyuga's ambush site, and were swiftly eliminated without hesitation. The second Hidden Cloud's village squad is approaching from the southeast, bearing 30 degrees off our left flank. Right after finishing the annihilation operation, while rapidly relocating, Shu's force quickly discovered another Hidden Cloud's village ninja unit. About 110 in total, 16 seemed to be Jonin judging by their uniforms. Are there any other Hidden Cloud's village ninja squads behind us? Hyuga raised his eyebrows slightly and asked. There are no signs of movement indicating organized Hidden Cloud's village forces within our visible range. A Hyuga branch house Jonin scout answered. In that case, let's strike. Shu activated his Byakugan for confirmation, then barked the command, since secrecy is already blown, let's just throw everything we've got at them. Immediately afterward, he dropped his chakra concealment and activated his body flicker technique, charging straight into the enemy formation. Miharu Uchiha followed closely behind him, while the rest of his men fanned out to both flanks, forming a wide net swiftly enveloping the unsuspecting Hidden Cloud's village ninjas marching ahead. Honorable Lady Namiko. Massive chakra fluctuations detected. The Two-Tails Jinchuriki, who had been meditating inside her command cave, was snapped out of meditation by her subordinate's sudden exclamation. Where? 44 degrees south, approximately 27 kilometers distance. The current units present in this area are. Before the sensor ninja could finish speaking, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki had already flickered out of the cave, not even bothering to call upon her Jonin subordinates. Each commander, urge your unit to mobilize immediately. A senior Hidden Cloud's village Jonin swiftly took over command and began issuing orders. Except for the guards at headquarters, everyone else will mobilize right away. Communications unit, contact all deployed forces and converge upon the target area immediately. Sensor team, keep maintaining lock on targets. With a series of rapid commands given, chaos erupted among the Hidden Cloud's village ninjas as they scrambled toward the target area like startled birds. Lord Shu, our position is most likely compromised now. Within less than 10 minutes after completely eliminating yet another Hidden Cloud's village ninja force, the Byakugan-wielding ninja under Shu's command resumed battlefield surveillance again. 3 Hidden Cloud's village brutes are currently moving southward to encircle us. There also seems to be an ominous chakra presence rapidly closing in from the north. Dan Kato added, judging from the chakra signature, it may belong to a Hidden Cloud's village Jinchuriki. They sure aren't holding back. Without further delay, Hyuga gave direct orders, Jonin Toshimeki, notify headquarters immediately. Jonin Miharu, launch the signal flare right away. All Takebutsu Jonin should retreat first under Jonin Dan Kato's command. At once. The Jonin unit wasted no time obeying every instruction from Hyuga without protest. After separating all the weaker Takebutsu Jonin, Hyuga still had 39 Jonin under his command. Even though they'd lost more than half their numbers, they were still incredibly strong in battle. Unless surrounded, even a 1,000-strong ninja force wouldn't stand a chance against Shu's unit. As for the Takebutsu Jonin unit that had dispersed south earlier, it also included Hyuga clan Byakugan users and remained equally formidable. Even facing a Hidden Cloud's village ninja force of about 100 strong, they had complete confidence in victory. So Shu didn't have to worry about them either. Listen up. Our mission this time is to lure the enemy south, not to fight to the death with monsters like Jinchuriki. Don't let your passion get the better of you during battle. As he used his Byakugan to watch the Hidden Clouds village Jinchuriki rushing in from the north, Shu warned, especially you guys, Uchiha Jonin. Your 3 Tomoe Sharingan might not be enough to handle a Jinchuriki, so don't try to act tough. We'll follow your orders without question. The Uchiha Jonin grinned. Once the Takebutsu Jonin unit had moved far enough away, Shu's Byakugan spotted the Hidden Clouds village Jinchuriki racing toward their position at full speed. We'll relocate toward the eastern direction. Shu was the first to body flicker ahead, guiding his forces in their planned withdrawal. Roar. At that moment, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, charging forward at full speed, saw the fleeing Hidden Leaf village ninja and couldn't help but roar furiously. He deliberately weakened his body seal even more and sped up again as Shu's unit vanished beyond the horizon. That must be the Two-Tails blue flames. While retreating at maximum speed, Shu turned his head to gaze toward the rapidly pursuing Hidden Clouds village Jinchuriki. Two-Tails won't be too bad. Miharu Uchiha wasn't afraid at all. In fact, she looked excited. Historical Uchiha records say that legendary Uchiha warriors during the Warring States era treated tailed beasts like obedient companions. So aside from Shu, Miharu, who was determined to outdo those legends, was also deeply fascinated by tailed beasts. They'll catch up with us in about 4 minutes. An Uchiha Jonin interjected. The Takebutsu Jonin squad has already broken through the Hidden Clouds village intercept unit in the south, and there are no other Hidden Clouds village ninja within 7 kilometers in the eastern direction. A Hyuga branch house Jonin quickly added. Remember our tactics. Shu retrieved his torch pole weapon from a ceiling scroll and began slowing down his pace while quietly regulating his chakra reserves. All the Jonin except Miharu Uchiha spread out to either side and formed a crescent. The charging Two-Tails Jinchuriki happened to be caught right inside this formation. Without hesitation, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki once again loosened the iron armor seal on his body and started drawing massive amounts of power from the tailed beast sealed within him. Fire style, Gokumeshitsu. Fire style, Hellflame user purging creation. A massive blue fireball burst from the Jinchuriki's mouth and shattered into countless smaller flames, all aimed at the Jonin gathered there. Water style, Wall of Water formation. Earth style, Earth wall. Prepared in advance, the Hidden Leaf village Jonin immediately used defensive ninjutsu to intercept the Jinchuriki's attack. Even the Uchiha Jonin who were most skilled in fire-style techniques joined the defense without exception. After all, Matetabi the Two-Tails wielded fire chakra itself. Ordinary fire techniques were like blowing warm air at a wildfire to the Two-Tails and its Jinchuriki. At the same time, after blocking the Jinchuriki's initial assault, the Uchiha Jonin assembly immediately activated their Sharingan eyes and launched Ganjutsu attacks from all directions against the formidable Jinchuriki. Ganjutsu, Maki Ukao technique. Darkness binding prison. Even the Jinchuriki who had drawn upon tailed beast chakra momentarily faltered under the layered Ganjutsu assault of 10 Uchiha Jonin. Counterstorm, jumping slash. Hyuga's Shu immediately snatched up his torch pole and body flickered forward, swinging it with all his might straight into the Jinchuriki's skull. Boom. A sickening thud followed as the blow connected with the Jinchuriki's head, but the one who took the heavy strike only bled heavily from the wound without showing any serious injuries. Counterstorm second activation. Hyuga's Shu then activated the second stage effect of the skill. Accompanied by rippling red waves, the already dazed Jinchuriki became even more unable to control its limbs under the combined assault of Ganjutsu and the powerful head strike. Then Hyuga's Shu delivered another massive hammer blow, sending the Jinchuriki flying. Good chance. 10 Uchiha Jonin stepped forward together and quickly formed hand seals. Fire sealing method. As 10 scrolls unfurled and enveloped the Jinchuriki, the blue beast chakra covering its body began to thin out. But if the Jinchuriki could be captured so easily, it wouldn't be considered the ultimate war weapon of an entire hidden village. Roar. With a furious roar, the sealing scroll runes wrapped around the Jinchuriki instantly cracked apart inch by inch. The beast chakra surged even brighter. Its head wound completely healed as well. Weird markings flared across its face, and its eyes burned pure white. It's partially transformed into a tailed beast. Hyuga's Shu quickly made the judgment, retreat gradually while fighting. Don't get stuck in battle. Chapter 138, A Cornered Beast Still Fights. Jinchuriki were a rather detestable existence. Though they appeared human on the surface, due to flaws in their creation and maintenance by various hidden villages. Including Hidden Leaf Village. Their personalities and appearances often showed signs influenced by the tailed beasts sealed inside them, making them noticeably different from ordinary people. Besides that, there was another common trait among Jinchuriki: they were extremely hard to kill. Before the Two-Tails Jinchuriki even partially transformed into a tailed beast form, Hyuga Sashu had already used jumping slash twice straight at his face and head, yet it only caused him to bleed heavily from the head without achieving the instant fatal blow or serious damage normally expected against regular Jonin. Furthermore, Once he activated partial transformation, all those messy wounds on his head quickly healed under the catalyzing effect of tailed beast chakra. Even worse, the fire sealing method performed collectively by Uchiha Jonin under Sashu's command was completely shattered. So what chance did they even have left to keep fighting? If things dragged on like this, the Jonin unit led by Hyuga Sashu would likely be surrounded by the continuous reinforcements rushing from Hidden Cloud's village. At that point, they really would find themselves left with nowhere to turn and no one to help. Fortunately, perhaps driven by eagerness for victory, this unknown Two-Tails Jinchuriki had come alone. In addition, the positions of the Jonin group were relatively scattered, so while retreating step by step during battle, Hyuga Sashu still managed to slow down the Jinchuriki using tactical distractions created by the other Jonin's ninjutsu. Supported constantly by the observation from other Hyuga Jonin, they systematically withdrew into gaps along Hidden Cloud's village reinforcements' advancing route. Meanwhile, after receiving the battlefield report sent by Yamanaka Toshimaki, Sakamo Hatake officially led his ninja force across the border into the land of rice fields, heading northward into the land of lightning. He swiftly occupied a strategically advantageous terrain, setting up an ambush position while deploying sealing barriers, silently waiting for Hyuga Sashu to draw the Hidden Cloud's village Jinchuriki into the trap. After Hidden Leaf Village's disastrous defeat in the Land of Rain. Which Hidden Leaf Village officially still described as a narrow victory. Its strategic situation deteriorated rapidly. First, Hidden Mist Village began showing signs of unrest, apparently stirred up by the Mizukage from the Land of Water. Even the Kaguya clan, which had secretly maintained relations with the Hyuga clan, abruptly severed all ties. Mist Ninja also appeared near the former island territories of the Whirlpool country. Then, signs of Hidden Sand Village reconnaissance activities resurfaced along the previously quiet western front line, causing great concern among personnel responsible for defense there, including Shirakawa Namiko. In short, after the defeat in the Land of Rain, Hidden Leaf Village suddenly found itself pulled in every direction by threats from all sides. Even leading members of Hidden Leaf Village's F4 began questioning whether starting a war against Hidden Cloud's village had really been a good idea. Under such circumstances, Sakamo Hatake urgently needed a decisive victory to intimidate external threats. That was precisely why he broke the earlier mutual understanding with Hyuga Sashu, intentionally sending out messages urging Sashu to accelerate behind enemy lines attacks. His intention was to lure high-profile figures or certain units from Hidden Cloud's village into a trap where they could be ambushed and eliminated. However, when it came to dealing with a massive creature like a tailed beast, even Sakamo Hatake lacked effective strategies or ideas. Therefore, all he could do in advance was set up the standard chakra sealing barrier to hide their presence. At the same time, he had gathered all skilled sealing technique users to activate the beast binding formation. As for the actual battle process, they had no choice but to go down one single path. There's no need to report casualty numbers to me until this battle ends. Unless completely wiped out, none of the ninja forces involved are allowed to retreat from the battlefield without orders. As the terrifying aura unique to the tailed beast drew closer, Sakamo Hatake emphasized again coldly, anyone who disobeys will be executed. Understood. Although the Hidden Leaf Village Jonin assembly faced a chakra entity as horrifying as a tailed beast for the first time, they firmly accepted his merciless command. This was especially true for those shinobi from the Hokage faction assigned to frontline combat. Even though they held serious objections against Hyuga's Shuan Sakamo Hatake, when confronted with the greater good of the village and strict military orders, they dared not show the slightest negligence. Moreover, besides the shinobi under the Hokage faction, veteran ninja led by Kwairyo Jonin also occupied the front positions within the ambush zone. Come what may, we fight until the bitter end. Sarutobi Semen clenched his teeth and said, also remember this, we're facing Hidden Cloud's village's Two-Tails, a living tailed beast, so don't you dare use fire style against it. If anyone dares such idiocy, I'll kill them with my own hands. Got it. His subordinates in the Jonin ranks didn't sound any more cheerful. After all, they were about to face a Jinchuriki widely labeled by all hidden villages as the ultimate weapon. Who knew how many would survive? Could anyone really guarantee their own survival in such a deadly situation? With such intense chakra fluctuations, I'm afraid Hidden Cloud's village won't miss this. Kwairyo Jonin considered another possibility. Even if our chakra hiding barrier works, Hidden Cloud's village can still pinpoint our current location based on where the chakra ultimately disappears. So what? Sakamo Hatake, however, remained unconcerned. Besides, can we really avoid this battle altogether? The other Hidden Leaf Village Jonin behind him said nothing more. Although Sakamo had ordered news of their defeat in the Land of Rain to be suppressed, this information couldn't possibly be hidden from high-ranking Jonin who served at the command level within the village. Everyone understood. Regardless of their affiliations and positions. That this battle was no longer avoidable. Since Hidden Leaf Village desperately needed a decisive victory capable of intimidating other hidden villages following Rain Country's substantial defeat. We've already come this far, surely nobody's thinking of backing down now. Besides, Shu himself took great risks by going deep into enemy territory just to lure out a Jinchuriki. Whether he meant to comfort himself or warn the others remained unclear. Hearing this, the other Hidden Leaf Village Jonin felt slightly more relaxed. After all, fighting just one Jinchuriki was still much better than engaging both Hidden Clouds Village's army and their Jinchuriki head-on. Fire style, Gokumishitsu. The enraged Two-Tails Jinchuriki, relentlessly pursuing his prey, had clearly entered a state of complete frenzy under the influence of tailed beast chakra. Thanks to the seemingly endless chakra reserves provided by the beast, he could recklessly unleash powerful ninjutsu techniques, chasing the Hidden Leaf Village ninja as though they were annoying mosquitoes, creating chaos wherever he went. Although among those leaf ninja fleeing in Banuk there were Uchiha clan members. The ones the beast most feared. And although their Ganjutsu indeed had some effect on a Jinchuriki, the blue flames covering his partially transformed tailed beast form functioned much like four-corner ceiling barrier. Ordinary C-rank water-style techniques couldn't hope to achieve elemental advantage effects, let alone extinguish the protective flame layer. In such circumstances, how could the enraged Two-Tails Jinchuriki not become completely absorbed in battle? He might still retain fragments of reason, and his combat instincts might remain sharp. But under the influence of tailed beast chakra, he was becoming something else entirely. A monstrous beast fueled solely by bloodlust and destruction. At least he wouldn't stop until he had thoroughly annihilated Honorable Shu's group. Honorable Shu, Squad Commander Sakamo is ready to go. Amidst the chaos, Yamanaka Toshimaki still risked being hit by the beast's flames to approach Hyuga's Shu and report, "We just need." "How far now?" Hyuga's Shu wasn't interested in hearing unnecessary details. "About 32 kilometers. Yamanaka Toshimaki replied immediately. 32 kilometers. Hyuga's Shu glanced backward, then activated body flicker, and rushed at the pursuing Two-Tails Jinchuriki. Under the protection of Counterstorm, he landed a heavy blow on the beastman who was about to attack a slightly slower Hyuga ninja, then executed a swift aerial slash before vanishing back behind Yamanaka Toshimaki. About 5 minutes more. Hyuga's Shu made this assessment based on their current desperate situation. Then Mahiru Uchiha commanded several Uchiha Jonin to simultaneously activate Ganjutsu, delaying the Two-Tails Jinchuriki who had been drawn towards Shu by his killing intent. But that was about all they could accomplish. Though the Uchiha clan's Ganjutsu was strong, ordinary 3 Tomoe Sharingan techniques had limited effect against beings like Jinchuriki that contained dual consciousnesses. Therefore, after failing to suppress the Jinchuriki with fire sealing method the first time, the Uchiha Jonin stopped using their Ganjutsu for defeating enemies and merely used it to slow down the Jinchuriki's movements. Taking advantage of the moment when the Two-Tails Jinchuriki was once again delayed by Ganjutsu, the Hidden Leaf Village Jonin launched another wave of jutsu attacks, then accelerated once more under guidance from the Hyuga ninja. This time's hard control through Ganjutsu acted like the final straw that broke the camel's back. As soon as the creature broke free from the illusion technique, the Jinchuriki suddenly stopped in his tracks. His face, covered with blue markings, let out a guttural howl toward the sky while the blue-colored chakra flames surrounding his body began erupting violently. Full-tailed beast transformation, Hyuga Shu's expression changed drastically. If even partially transforming into a tailed beast was this hard to handle, what would happen if he completed the transformation? So, he immediately made a hand signal to indicate his Jonin subordinates to disperse right away. At the same time, he accelerated once more. Roar! With a deafening roar that reached the clouds, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki who had previously maintained a humanoid form with beast-like tails began growing larger and larger until transforming into a gigantic blue monster. Water-style, Water Dragon Jutsu. Except for Hyuga Shu and the other Hyuga Jonin, every Jonin unleashed their water-style techniques at the enormous tailed beast as it stretched. Yet this coordinated jutsu assault didn't even cause a chakra explosion on the beast's body. Not even a wisp of steam rose. It was as if these techniques were nothing more than mere tickles. Once fully transformed into the tailed beast, even those jutsus that previously slowed it down even slightly were now completely ineffective. Whoa meow. The ineffective jutsu attacks enraged the Two-Tails. Following a sharp cat-like screech, the enormous Two-Tails suddenly vanished from its spot and reappeared in front of Uchiha Jonin who had just finished using a technique. Swinging its paw, it swiped at him. Boom. 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 This simple swipe unleashed an impact nearly equivalent to a B-rank ninjutsu bombardment. Although the targeted Uchiha Jonin narrowly dodged at the last moment by body flickering away, the beast's flame still scorched his chest. His body burned so severely that red flesh was exposed. Don't waste time. Move out quickly. Using jumping slash, Again, Hyuga jumped over to the injured Uchiha Jonin's side, hoisted him onto his shoulder, then fled rapidly by body flicker. Fighting head-on against a fully transformed tailed beast here was useless. Even though the Two-Tails Jinchuriki lost most of its rationality after transformation, the murderous intent and hatred provoked during the chase intensified further rather than lessened. Naturally, it continued pursuing relentlessly. Moreover, with enhanced speed and strength after transformation, the beast now moved beyond human capability. Leaf ninja who were originally difficult to catch. Like nimble insects starting about. Were now easily snatched up one after another like autumn leaves swept by the wind. After 6 Jonins were killed consecutively, Hyuga led his unit directly into the encirclement trap. Fire style, Hellflame user purging creation. Sensing something unusual about the valley where the leaf fleas had run into, the Two-Tails instinctively unleashed a volley of fireballs through its fire style technique. Then, driven by primal instinct, it charged straight into the valley without hesitation. It's finally here. Finally, Sakamo Hatake could relax for a moment. Immediately afterward, he waved his arm decisively and officially ordered the ninja force under his command to launch an attack. Earth style, Swamp of the Underworld. Earth style, Clay Dragon Descent. The Hidden Lee Village ninjas simultaneously activated their techniques. First, they turned the ground beneath the beast's feet into a massive swampy area. Then, they summoned a rain of sticky clay falling from the sky onto the tailed beast, hindering its mobility and weakening its physical strength. Now, Sakamo Hatake raised his sword and sliced forward, then was the first to body flicker into battle. Even though his sword techniques had little effect against the tailed beast's transformed form, he still led the charge as usual. Kaoryo Jonin took command accordingly, and Hidden Leaf Village ninjas from the Hokage faction charged forward with gritted teeth under Semen Saratobi's leadership. Just as the tailed beast prepared to burn away the clay covering its body using concentrated chakra flames, countless cursed seal scrolls suddenly flew from all directions, attaching themselves onto its blue flaming body. Fire sealing method. With this shout, dozens of Hidden Lee Village shinobi triggered their sealing method simultaneously, extinguishing the Two-Tails blue flames. Before the beast could break free from the fire suppression technique, 2 more sealing methods were immediately applied. 4 symbol seal. 5 elements seal. Bright lights flashed as the 2 sealing techniques took effect, making the Two-Tails appear even weaker. But this still didn't mean the tailed beast was subdued. It was now time for Hidden Leaf Village's melee ninja forces, led by Sakamo Hatake, to play their role. Though the beast's body, claws, and surrounding chakra flames could wreak havoc on flesh and blood shinobi, nothing would stop Hidden Leaf Village's fighters from pressing the attack. Water style, waterfall technique. Water style, water dragon's crushing bite. Water style, first came countless water style jutsu crashing down, causing the towering tailed beast to stagger and become disoriented, something the Two-Tails Jinchuriki hadn't experienced during its earlier fight with Hyuga's squad. Did we fall into a trap? This thought flickered through what little remained of the Two-Tails consciousness. But instantly, with a single sweep of its paw, it sent 4 or 5 Hidden Leaf Village shinobi flying like insects. Apparently, aside from their greatly increased numbers, these pests weren't that formidable. Therefore, with its rationality nearly erased by tailed beast chakra, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki began killing with full intent. Hidden Leaf Village ninjas kept launching increasingly dense waves of jutsu and ninja tools. More and more Hidden Leaf Village shinobi arrived trying to prevent its escape from the sealed area, making the Two-Tails Jinchuriki feel its body becoming heavier and heavier. Of course, it would be bizarre if it weren't feeling increasingly weakened. Earth-style clay falls from the sky had already piled into a small mountain on the Two-Tails Jinchuriki's back, and combined with the intensifying effects of the fire sealing method and other sealing techniques, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki started feeling overwhelmed. By this point, over 100 Hidden Leaf Village ninjas had already perished at its hands, with countless more injured or exhausted beyond strength from chakra depletion. However, following Sakamo Hatake's strict order to fight to the death, no one bothered keeping track of these trivial battlefield numbers. Not good. As the leaking tailed beast chakra suffered another weakening, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki's previously suppressed rationality regained control momentarily. If things continued like this, death was inevitable. Precisely because of this, it needed to fight even harder. Roar. Letting out another furious roar, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki completely removed the suppression seals it had placed on itself to restrain the tailed beast power. Chapter 139, Pulling the Chariot and Capturing the Jade. The true cruelty of tailed beasts lies in their immense physical power, a force no ordinary human body can match. This is precisely why the Raikage of Hidden Cloud's village have earned legendary status across the ninja world. They possessed the actual strength to rival tailed beasts. Moreover, as long as the output remains manageable, The nearly inexhaustible chakra allows Jinchuriki. Those with tail beasts sealed within them. To function almost like perpetual sources of ninjutsu firepower. However, there's a major drawback: the corrosive effects of tailed beast chakra on the body and mind are irreversible. Therefore, while complete tailed beast transformation truly unleashes the beast's full might, whoever controls the body afterward may no longer be the Jinchuriki's own consciousness. This is exactly the predicament now facing the two-tails Jinchuriki. During partial tailed beast transformation, the excessive and frequent extraction of the two-tails chakra for combat and healing. Combined with Hyuga's Shu and his subordinate Jonin continually provoking and tormenting her. Push the Jinchuriki beyond her limit, involuntarily triggering full-tailed beast transformation. In simple terms, it's an exchange of sanity for combat power. However, for ninja, especially Hidden Leaf Village. The village most skilled in sealing techniques in the modern ninja world. This presented a small but valuable advantage. Although the fully restored two tails could unleash far greater power than when the Jinchuriki merely borrowed the beast's chakra, to Sakamo Hatake, this wasn't particularly significant. If the cost could simply be paid in lives, then it wasn't a serious issue at all. More importantly, the completely beast-like two tails was far easier to manipulate and lure. Constant harassment and attacks would keep this giant cat trapped indefinitely within the ever-strengthening swamp of Yami. A luxury unthinkable when fighting cunning ninja who thrive on endless schemes. Added to this, the ongoing application of sealing techniques was gradually weakening the two tails' actual power. If they could prolong the battle, fortune would ultimately favor the Hidden Leaf Village forces. Push forward. As time passed, the first wave of Hidden Leaf Village ninja had already suffered heavy casualties. Kaorio immediately waved his hand and ordered the second unit to advance. Judging from the current battlefield situation, apart from a few elite Jonin-level fighters, most other ninja were barely inflicting any real damage against the fully transformed tailed beast. Even Sakamo Hatake, wielding his short blade, was only scratching the surface against the massive two tails. As for common ninja attacks, they were practically suicide missions. Follow me. Semen Saratobi gritted his teeth, stomped his foot, and darted forward with his team of Jonin using the body flicker technique. He could fall in battle, but he would never allow himself to be executed by Kaorio's supervisory squad. That was a matter of honor and reflected directly on the dignity of the Hokage family. Water style, Water Dragon's Barrage, Water style, Waterfall technique. With the second squad of Hidden Leaf Village Jonin charging forward, another towering wave surged from the ground, crashing toward the two tails. At the same time, chakra-fueled moisture replenished the swampy terrain constantly dried by the two tails' innate chakra flames, making the mud even stickier. All of this had been calculated before the battle began. Judging from the actual combat results now, things were going fairly well. However, no matter how mighty the waves were, despite the visibly weakened power and attack frequency of the two tails, these water-style techniques only managed to create a bit of steam upon impact. Rather than dealing significant damage, they seemed only to further enrage the already furious tailed beast. Damn it! Kaorio Jonin glanced around at the Hidden Leaf Village ninja forces, cold sweat appearing on his forehead. Except for the reserve unit still on standby under his command, the Hidden Leaf Village ninja maintaining the sealing formation had clearly begun to show signs of exhaustion. Although they kept taking secret medicinal pills from their respective clans, these could only slow the rate of fatigue instead of completely turning around their dire situation. Even more importantly, judging from the expressions and pill usage frequency of those ninja at this moment, at the current rate of chakra consumption, they would very likely die from chakra overexertion before the tailed beast was subdued. Captain's Shu, please lend us your strength. With no other options left, Kaorio Jonin created a shadow clone and dispatched it to the rear base to call for help from Hyuga's Shu, who had brought the two tails Jinchuriki into the encirclement zone. How can I help? Hyuga's Shu looked at the Jonin under his command, panting heavily, then slowly shook his head as he spoke. The main force is already exhausted. However, since Kaorio has personally requested this, I'm willing to offer my support. But not extend it to the others. The Jonin from the Hyuga branch house wouldn't be useful at all. Their gentle fist couldn't even tickle the tailed beast. As for those Uchiha Jonin, they had been using Ganjutsu to slow the beast all the way here while coordinating with ninja bombardments using ninjutsu to draw aggro. The fact that they were still standing was itself a testament to their incredible stamina. Ordering them back into combat would be playing Russian roulette with their lives. Since Shu had few supporters in the first place, he naturally hesitated to recklessly throw away capable allies under his command. Then I really appreciate it. Kaorio Jonin wasn't unreasonable either. With just a glance, he understood the physical conditions of those Jonin who had fought alongside Hyuga's Shu, so he didn't dare make such an excessive request. Moreover, judging from Shu's appearance, his complexion looking fresh, his voice strong and resonant, his posture energetic despite the situation, he definitely had plenty left in the tank. Maharu Uchiha, who had been sitting quietly in meditation, began to rise as if ready to speak. You rest first. Instantly, Hyuga's Shushan shined behind his lover, gently pressing her shoulders to stop her moving, then kissed the back of her head. Wait for me. I'll come right back to you. Alright. As soon as a kiss landed, Maharu Uchiha's tone instantly got all sweet and sultry. She obediently followed instructions and continued meditating to recover her strength. Hyuga's Shu gave a slight nod toward Kaorio Jonin before activating the shifting body technique and rushing directly toward the chaotic Two Tails battlefield. After nearly 200 Hidden Leaf Village ninja had been sacrificed in the battle, the Two Tails' power had already been significantly weakened. At this moment, even Tsukumo Hatake's White Fang Tando was now able to slice away chunks of its chakra-infused, blazing hide. Although the other Hidden Leaf Village ninja weren't making much progress with their ninjutsu, fewer lives were being lost now that the Two Tails had been weakened. Jumping slash, without hesitation, Hyuga's Shu activated his skill, leaping high above the Two Tails and delivering a powerful hammer strike straight onto its head. Boom. The heavy blow landed like a drumbeat. A deep, dull sound that proved what a fine beastly head it was. Watch out. Tsukumo Hatake, who had just sliced off another chunk of the Two Tails' chakra-laced hide, saw what was happening and immediately cried out in alarm. At this point, Tsukumo looked quite battered. His signature white hair was singed down to stubble by the blue flames of the beast, and the strands that remained were yellowed and brittle. His Jonin vest was tattered beyond recognition, with faint sparks still flickering from smoldering holes. Tsukumo had certainly gained first-hand experience of a tailed beast's might. All he could think was, no wonder these legendary doom beasts have such a fearsome reputation. Though they possessed little intelligence, their sheer power utterly overwhelmed that of ordinary ninja. No problem. With that shout, Hyuga's Shu stamped his foot and leapt into the air once more, narrowly avoiding the Two Tails' swatting claw as it slashed through the air like someone swatting a fly. Although the fully transformed Jinchuriki retained barely animal-level intellect, this wild instinct allowed it to instantly recognize the one it subconsciously hated most. Hyuga's Shu. This very man had led a swarm of insects to humiliate it repeatedly while it was a Jinchuriki. The consciousness of the Two Tails Jinchuriki, which had partially regained clarity due to the beast's waning power, was once again utterly swallowed by an overwhelming surge of hatred. Roar! 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 Letting out another long roar toward the sky, the Two Tails gathered a spherical mass of chakra in its mouth. Tsushu-kun, watch out! Tsukumo's face paled. Although he wasn't exactly sure what secret jutsu that black and white chakra ball in the beast's mouth was, from the chakra pressure radiating outward alone, he could estimate roughly how devastating its power would be. Ignoring his own physical exhaustion, Tsukumo resumed slicing furiously at the Two Tails with desperate body flicker technique movements, tearing pieces of its body apart bit by bit. However, the Two Tails, who usually got distracted so easily, was now acting unnervingly single-minded. It completely ignored Tsukumo's harassing attacks, simply keeping its mouth wide open, locking eyes on Hyuga's Shu, who was hopping ever closer. Could this actually be the tailed beast ball? At this moment, Hyuga's Shu himself felt a chill run through his scalp. If it was just himself being targeted, he thought he could dodge the attack using either jumping slash or flash, but the mist-tailed beast ball would surely fly straight into the group of Hidden Leaf Village ninja maintaining the sealing formula. Moreover, if many of these ninja fell, the sealing formula would inevitably fail. Once freed from the seal's restraint, the tailed beast might quickly regain all its strength under the catalysis of its near-infinite chakra. At that point, the death toll wouldn't stop at 200. Counterstorm, Hyuga's Shu took a deep breath, then activated his chakra barrier to protect his body before launching forward using body flicker toward the tailed beast. Roar. Weakened by the effects of the sealing technique, the Two Tails' speed while forming the tailed beast ball had also dropped considerably. Therefore, when facing Hyuga's Shu charging head-on, it could only instinctively lash out with its paw, trying to swat or smash him aside. Jumping slash, just as the tailed beast raised its claw and was about to strike, Shu first used wind barrier to resist the impact, then activated his Q ability, immediately leaping onto the Two Tails' cheek area, and promptly triggered another skill, Counterstorm second activation. Ripples of red energy spread outward, causing the tailed beast's body to instantly stiffen. However, the tailed beast's size and chakra reserves far surpassed those of an ordinary ninja, so Hyuga's Shu's stun effect lasted less than half a second. But that was already enough. Shu directly jumped into the tailed beast's mouth, first striking once with his hammer to scatter the somewhat unstable tailed beast ball, then retreating using body flicker just before the beast bit down. Boom. 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 The dispersed tailed beast ball exploded directly inside the Two Tails' mouth. Increased power. Success or failure depends on this one move. Kaorio Jonin, who was observing the battle situation, issued direct orders again. The exhausted Hidden Leaf Village ninja, whose chakra was nearly depleted, now squeezed out their last ounce of energy without hesitation, activating the sealing formula for one final hard pull. Ow meow. Immediately afterward, cries of agony flew from the Two-Tails' mouth, and its spirit state became listless. Sakamo Hatake and the other Hidden Leaf Village ninja participating in the assault gave up defending themselves and instead poured every last bit of chakra into unleashing ninjutsu, bombarding the heavily weakened tailed beast until it became dizzy and disoriented. Blood Slash, Hyuga's Shu first activated his equipment ability, then hammered away relentlessly until the magic blade effective, Triforce, surged forth, slamming the slightly unsteady tailed beast down to the ground. From the perspective of the Hidden Leaf Village ninjas maintaining the sealing formula, this feat clearly belonged solely to Hyuga's Shu. Woo woo woo. The howl coming from the Two-Tails had already become pitifully mournful. Weapon Master, Hyuga's Shu didn't hesitate and unleashed his ultimate technique. Under the effect of his equipment, he wildly swung his hammer, pounding the tailed beast so severely it couldn't even lift its head. Sakamo Hatake also swung his sword furiously, taking advantage of this opening to slice the weakened beast down to practically nothing but a skeleton frame. As for Hyuga's Shu, he had completely thrown caution to the wind, launching a relentless barrage of punches directly at the tailed beast's head, thinning its tailed beast chakra until it became nearly transparent. Deep within the beast's head, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki who had been unconscious began to surface as the beast's power weakened. Boom. After a series of heavy blows, Hyuga's Shu finally scattered the tailed beast chakra that maintained the tailed beast's head. The dazed Jinchuriki slowly came to his senses. Ignite, Hyuga's Shu directly activated another rarely used skill against the Two-Tails Jinchuriki. Ignite. Arg. Overcome by unbearable pain, the Jinchuriki's rationality gradually overpowered his instincts. Run. It was the only thought that ran through his mind. But it was already far too late. Hyuga's Shu's torch pole smashed down hard on the Jinchuriki's head, crushing the last traces of beastly instinct still clinging to him. One hammer. Two hammers. Keep smashing with big hammers. A furious barrage of hammer strikes rained down until blood burst from the Jinchuriki's eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. And then one final crushing blow shattered his skull. With the Jinchuriki's death, the exhausted Hidden Leaf Village ninja could finally collapse to the ground in relief. Semen Jonin, do you play shogi, Japanese chess? Just as everyone closed their eyes to catch their breath, Kaorio Jonin suddenly asked. I know the basics, but the Nara clan ninja are sharper when it comes to strategy games. Sarutobi Simon assumed Kaorio Jonin wanted a game, but given the heavy casualties among his subordinates, he really wasn't in the mood for chess and politely declined. If we compare the confrontation between the two villages to a game of shogi, how would you evaluate Hidden Cloud's village's current situation? Kaorio Jonin didn't seem to notice Sarutobi Simon's reluctance and simply asked another question. Probably just an endgame scenario? Sarutobi Simon couldn't offer much more. After all, his knowledge of shogi, a pastime mainly popular among noble families and ninja clans, was quite limited. With the death of the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, it's like Hidden Cloud's village has lost their rook, Kaorio continued. And considering the Hidden Cloud's village ninja force wiped out before this battle even started, it's like taking out both their pawns and lances, the rook-like piece at the edge of the board. So, if I'm following you correctly. Sarutobi Simon hesitated slightly. Now the offensive and defensive positions have reversed. We've taken the upper hand and must strike relentlessly. Immediately dismantle the chakra sealing barrier and take secret medicinal potions to recover quickly. Hyuga's Shu and Sakamo Hatake simultaneously issued orders to their respective teams. The reason was simple. Hidden Cloud's village ninja force had already appeared on the horizon. Chapter 140, Bitter Spring brings clarity. A bitter spring symbolizes hardship that ultimately brings wisdom. In the game of shogi, the most important piece is the Gyakusho. Once the Gyakusho is checkmated by the opponent's pieces, the entire match ends. In this war between Hidden Leaf Village and Hidden Cloud's village, the Hidden Cloud's village side's Gyakusho was none other than the Raikage heir, still serving as commander. After Hidden Leaf Village's Rain Country Expeditionary Force suffered defeat and withdrew, Sakamo Hatake immediately adjusted their strategic objective. To eliminate the strongest Hidden Cloud's village piece stationed in the southern Land of Lightning, the Flying General, the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, thereby creating a sweeping momentum. Through relentless assaults within a short time frame, Hidden Leaf Village intended to cause chaos within Hidden Cloud's village's ranks and ultimately capture or kill the enemy's Gyakusho, restoring Hidden Leaf Village's former glory. And just as the exhausted Hidden Leaf Village ninja forces began, under their respective Jonin leaders' commands, to stagger into formation preparing for battle, the newly arrived Hidden Cloud's village ninja forces were instantly filled with dread. They had rushed here based on reports from Hidden Cloud's village communication ninja stationed at Hokone Prefecture City. The last area where the tailed beasts or vanished. Yet upon reaching the battlefield, they suddenly sensed an extremely dense chakra eruption overflowing with intense malice, which then quickly dissipated. Anyone who had previously encountered the two tails Jinchuriki could identify traces of this chakra. It was unmistakably the evil aura of a tailed beast. Furthermore, some knowledgeable Hidden Cloud's village Jonin noticed more unsettling clues. Theoretically speaking, the reason the two tails Jinchuriki's presence disappeared likely meant he'd carelessly fallen into an encirclement zone shielded by a powerful ceiling barrier. Which wasn't necessarily critical, they could just charge forward and engage. The real problem was this. Where was the two tails Jinchuriki now? Seeing the Hidden Leaf village forces start to line up neatly and slowly advance forward, spurred on by their respective Jonin commanders, the Hidden Cloud's village Jonin's hearts pounded violently, nearly leaping from their throats. They all arrived at one worst-case, yet highly probable, conclusion. Could it be? The Jinchuriki is dead? At the mere thought of this possibility, the Hidden Cloud's village Jonin froze in place, overwhelmed with fear. Although theoretically speaking, even if Hidden Leaf village had managed to kill the two tails Jinchuriki, they surely would have sustained heavy losses while suffering great physical exhaustion and chakra depletion. But who could really say for certain what actually happened? So should they bet that Hidden Leaf village no longer possessed fighting capability or avoid confrontation and make plans accordingly? This dilemma created hesitation. Their anxious, uncertain mood caused the Hidden Cloud's village Jonin assembly's advancing pace to slow involuntarily. Moreover, these Hidden Cloud's village forces had been gathered through communication ninja from a distant command center in Hokone Prefecture City without any actual commanding hierarchy present to make decisions decisively. As for the lower-ranking Hidden Cloud's village ninja, following orders from their respective Jonin superiors, their frontline warriors slowed down accordingly due to their leader's hesitation. Though the rear ranks also sensed that rapidly vanishing sinister aura, lacking the knowledge necessary to discern its truth, they simply wondered why the frontline comrades had suddenly slowed their advance. Just as the Hidden Cloud's village ninja hesitated, the Hidden Leaf village vanguard led by Hyuga's Shu and Sakamo Hatake had already flickered forward with their body flicker technique. Prepare for battle. The Hidden Cloud's village Jonin gritted their teeth, cast away their inner unease, and began shouting orders for their subordinates to get ready for combat. From Hidden Cloud's village's perspective, they could see Sakamo Hatake and Hyuga's Shu rapidly charging toward their formation. Due to their incredible speed, the two had become significantly separated from the slowly advancing Hidden Leaf village ninja forces. Do they really think so little of us? The low-ranked Hidden Cloud's village ninja were furious. Perhaps this is an opportunity. Most of the Jonin shared that view. Since these two powerful Hidden Leaf village ninja had separated themselves from their forces, it meant Hidden Cloud's village could quickly encircle them and create a localized advantage, taking down these two elite Jonin first. Could this be a trap? A few more experienced and cautious Hidden Cloud's village Jonin changed expression, suspecting that Hidden Leaf village must have some hidden plan. However, due to the actual issue of multiple command sources within the Hidden Cloud's village ninja force, when Shu and his companion had already reached the front lines, the enemy forces still hadn't formed an effective encirclement. Instead, confusion slightly emerged due to inconsistent orders from different squad leaders. As for small issues like gaps and vulnerabilities between various squads, those were too numerous to count. Jumping slash, Hyuga's Shu roared lowly, directly activating his skill and leaping into the Hidden Cloud's village ninja formation. At the same time, he swung the torch pole, sweeping through and knocking away 3 Hidden Cloud's village ninja. Counterstorm, having charged into the formation and knocked back the immediate enemies, Shu also activated his E-skill, generating a wind barrier that blocked ninja tool attacks coming from all directions. Counterstorm second activation, as the wind barrier dissipated, strange chakra fluctuations rooted all nearby Hidden Cloud's village ninja surrounding Hyuga's Shu in place. 21:50. Time for the best part, reaping souls. Splitting his attention, Hyuga's Shu swung the torch pole and smashed the heads of the stunned Hidden Cloud's village ninja one by one, all while shouting out the coin rewards he earned with every kill. As the coin count steadily increased in the system shop, Shu's motivation grew stronger. Clang. After blocking a horizontal slash from a Hidden Cloud's village Jonin's ninja blade with his torch pole, Shu didn't bother to entangle with such a relatively troublesome opponent any longer. He immediately executed another, jumping slash, leaping into another squad formation of the Hidden Cloud's village ninja force, continuing his reckless and unmatched slaughter. For Shu, who relied on his weapon master ability in combat, he lived for moments like this, mowing down waves of weaklings with sheer power. Though the rewards for defeating Geinin and lower Jonin weren't nearly as good as taking down high-level targets, the real perk was how practically risk-free it was. The ordinary dagger knives and throwing blade attacks were nothing more than toys to be ignored by Hyuga's Shu, who possessed the Plate of the Dead. The only real dangers came from Jonin-level opponents and the blast shockwaves produced by explosive tags. After he charged directly into the enemy formation, Hidden Cloud's village had no choice but to depend on overwhelming numbers to encircle this single warrior, carving through their ranks. However, they hesitated to deploy heavy firepower for fear of harming their own comrades. Yet Hyuga's Shu's actions clearly demonstrated that sheer numerical superiority without quality was utterly useless against him. After a continuous series of deadly assaults, Shu had already thrown 4 Hidden Cloud's village ninja force formations into chaos. Meanwhile, Tsukumo Hatake's fighting style represented the complete opposite. He relied on maximum velocity, perfect piercing strikes, and decapitation tactics. Whilst Shu sliced effortlessly through Hidden Cloud's village ranks with total freedom, Tsukumo remained just as busy. But his focus was primarily on the mid to low-ranking squad commanders in the Hidden Cloud's village forces, particularly those Takebutsu Jonin whose roles fell outside the standard hierarchy. Tsukumo sliced through them with ruthless efficiency, causing just as much chaos within the Hidden Cloud's village ranks. And just as these two individuals threw a Hidden Cloud's village force of nearly 1,000 ninja into complete disarray, the Hidden Leaf village ninja forces finally advanced into position. Since most of the Hidden Leaf village ninja were nearing exhaustion, only being kept upright through the use of military ration pills or secret medicinal potions brewed by individual clans, Jonin Commander Kaorio adopted the simplest, most straightforward strategy. Advancing in tight battle formations to compensate for their lack of stamina and chakra through collective firepower. Even the experienced Kaorio Jonin hadn't expected that Hyuga's Shuan Tsukumo Hatake could throw such a massive and powerful Hidden Cloud's village force into utter chaos in such a short time. And this greatly boosted his confidence. Prepare fire-style ninjutsu. Launch it. At Kaorio Jonin's command, the fire-style users among the Hidden Leaf village ninja forces simultaneously unleashed their techniques. Release wind-style jutsu. Immediately following, weaker wind-style techniques were also fired off. This was a standard combined ninjutsu tactic used by ninja armies. A classic maneuver where fire techniques were amplified by wind techniques, each reinforcing the other. It was also precisely this type of coordination that had repeatedly brought victory to the Hidden Leaf village ninja forces during the Great Ninja World War. Though it appeared simple, this level of coordinated effort vastly outclassed the so-called brave and fierce villages that relied solely on raw courage. Especially with no high-ranking specialists present to steady their side, the already disoriented Hidden Cloud's village ninjas couldn't mount any effective defense, let alone launch a counterattack. Boom. 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 Without meaningful interception, the fire techniques struck deep into the Hidden Cloud's village formation, instantly igniting flames everywhere amid cries of agony. A single strike dealt massive devastation to the Hidden Cloud's village ninja. But this wasn't all yet. Seeing that Hidden Cloud's village lacked the ability to mount any counterattacks, Kaorio Jonin instantly called a stop to the advance and began coordinating the units for a second wave of concentrated ninjutsu barrages. The third and fourth rounds followed. 5 continuous waves of ninjutsu bombardment raged on. Though the Hidden Cloud's village ninja had not completely collapsed, they were barely holding on through sheer determination, having lost all organization and command structure. Meanwhile, Hyuga's Shu, who had been rampaging through the enemy ranks, shifted his focus again. This time targeting those Hidden Cloud's village Jonin who had previously avoided direct confrontation. Due to the 5 relentless waves of ninjutsu unleashed by the Hidden Leaf village ninja forces, most of the Hidden Cloud's village casualties were rank-and-file Chunin and Gain-in. As a result, each Hidden Cloud's village Jonin's directly commanded units had become severely depleted, no longer capable of organizing coordinated attacks against Hyuga's Shu. Instead, their remaining manpower was further strained as part of it had to be diverted to care for the wounded. Yet even in this dire predicament, the Hidden Cloud's village ninja forces still failed to decide whether to risk everything in a final clash or withdraw immediately. Instead, they kept pointlessly surrounding and attacking the duo of Hyuga's Shu and Tsukumo Hatake within their own formation while continuing to endure the endless ninjutsu barrages from Hidden Leaf village. Could it be that Hidden Cloud's village is hiding some secret scheme? Although experienced in battlefield command, Kaorio Jonin had never encountered an enemy force that simply took a beating without retaliating. Under normal circumstances, even the best-trained Hidden Leaf village ninja forces would rarely launch more than 3 volleys of mass ninjutsu attacks before closing in for close combat with blades as the distance shortened. Yet in this battle against Hidden Cloud's village, Hidden Leaf village had launched as many as 5 volleys. Moreover, due to excessive chakra consumption during prior confrontations with tailed beasts, even with the use of secret medicinal potions, full recovery remained impossible. Otherwise, Kaorio Jonin would have gladly launched another round just to pull off a perfect, zero-casualty victory. There's nothing to hesitate about. Unlike the somewhat hesitant Kaorio Jonin, Mahiru Uchiha acted every bit the Uchiha. After declaring her words, Mahiru Uchiha unsheathed her blade, slashing forward midair. She was the first to body flicker ahead, leading the charge with the Jonin unit under Hyuga's Shu's command. Forward! 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 Seeing this unfold, Kaorio Jonin wasted no further time, immediately ordering a full-scale assault. The already mentally strained Hidden Clouds village ninja, worn thin from relentless strikes and bombardments, crumbled instantly when facing this Jonin strike team led by Mahiru Uchiha. Like a sandcastle before a tidal wave. They offered no semblance of resistance during the first attack. Some relatively intact units of Hidden Clouds village ninja, led by their respective Jonin, attempted to disengage from the battlefield, but a few heavily damaged detachments chose instead to mount desperate counterattacks, willing to trade lives recklessly. However, when Mahiru Uchiha and Hyuga Shu successfully linked up deep within a Hidden Clouds village formation, everything the Hidden Clouds village forces attempted became futile. Hyuga Shu personally led his elite troops straight into the retreating Hidden Clouds village forces. Using his unstoppable heavy-hitting tactics, he successfully intercepted those Hidden Clouds village ninja who had not yet fled far, wreaking havoc across the battlefield with assistance from his men. They say a defeated army collapses like a house of cards. That's exactly what Hidden Clouds village was demonstrating right now. From the moment Hyuga Shu and Tsukumo Hatake leapt into the Hidden Clouds village ninja forces formation to the point it completely collapsed, no more than 10 minutes had passed. Indeed, this could be considered the fastest victory Leaf Ninja had achieved since the Second Great Ninja War. 10,000 victories. The Hidden Leaf village ninja immediately erupted into thunderous cheers. Then, ignoring their physical exhaustion, they began the most thrilling pursuit under the command of their respective Jonin leaders. The chase with no end in sight. Whoosh! When news of defeat reached Hidden Clouds village's headquarters in Hakone Prefecture, carried by fleeing ninja, Commander flared up in rage, his eyes nearly popping out. But then, as he reconsidered, a chilling realization hit him. He might be missing something vital. If those disgraceful cowards were telling the truth, that the entire Hidden Clouds village ninja force, including the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, had been utterly defeated, and even their ultimate weapon, the Jinchuriki, had been slain by Hidden Leaf village ninja. Then what exactly did the Hidden Clouds village ninja stationed in southern Land of Lightning have left to resist the advancing Leaf forces? Certainly not their own skulls against enemy shuriken. A's heart grew heavier with unease. He immediately issued orders, notify all ninja forces stationed across the southern regions to retreat at once to the prefecture city for defense. And send an urgent dispatch to the village for immediate tactical instructions. Chapter 141, Leading the Army to Invade a Nation. Tactical Guidance. Ultimately, it was nothing more than a way to mask the reality of being unable to continue fighting and desperately seeking help. After receiving the terrible news of the Two-Tails Jinchuriki's death and the crushing defeat of the clearing forces, I immediately realized the situation had turned dire. Each hidden village regarded its Jinchuriki as one of its rare elite warriors. Whether this individual had died in battle or been captured, the loss would be an extremely heavy blow for Hidden Clouds village. In fact, the loss of combat power wasn't even the biggest concern. The critical issue was that with the death of the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, Cloud Village would become the first among the 5 great ninja villages in the ninja world to have deployed. And then lost. A Jinchuriki in wartime. Being the first to suffer such a loss was definitely no good sign. Just like how the other villages started dying opportunities after Hidden Leaf Village's defeat in the Land of Rain, the loss of a Jinchuriki would inevitably spark increased hostility from rival villages toward Hidden Clouds village. Especially from their longtime mortal foe, Hidden Stones village. Yet even A had not anticipated just how fierce Hidden Leaf Village's assault would be. Before Messenger Ninja could finish relaying requests for tactical guidance and detailed battle reports back to the village via multiple channels, before the shocked upper echelons of Hidden Clouds village could issue instructions for the next phase, Hidden Leaf Village's forces had already arrived at the outskirts of Hakone Prefecture City. They began encircling the city while repelling reinforcements, repeatedly crushing 2 squads of Hidden Clouds village ninja who had obeyed A's command to retreat toward the city. Hidden Clouds village alone lost over 200 men directly in these battles. This meant Hakone Prefecture City was no longer safe. Although Hidden Clouds village initially deployed as many as 3,000 ninja. An army twice the size of Hidden Leaf Village's forces currently setting up siege positions outside the city walls. The actual number of defenders remaining inside the city numbered fewer than 800. Most had been stationed on the outskirts of the prefecture and along various border regions. Combined with the additional losses of over 1,000 ninja following the failed punitive campaign, even including scattered units still patrolling distant perimeters without daring to advance forward, the total number of organized, battle-ready ninja under A's command barely reached 1,300. The real question was this: if Hidden Leaf Village had the strength to kill the Two-Tails Jinchuriki and crush over 1,000 Hidden Clouds village soldiers, then how long could the city's defenders last, even when joined by the surrounding forces? Although A was confident in his own abilities, he was still a Raikage heir who hadn't fully recovered from his severe wounds. One of those hulking invincibles brought low by injury. At present, even making sudden movements might cause problems, let alone engaging in intense combat. Therefore, facing Hidden Leaf Village's formidable and disciplined army, A felt completely uncertain inside. Initiating a counterattack? Launching an attack without enough strength to match Hidden Leaf Village's elites? That would be suicide. Fortifying and waiting for reinforcements? That would just drag them into a long, painful loss. No doubt about it. Abandoning the city and fleeing? As the Raikage heir, A could never stoop so low. He wouldn't allow himself to flee like some cowardly disgrace. Besides, would Hidden Leaf Village's ninja tools stationed outside permit them to withdraw peacefully? If they were chased down relentlessly during their retreat, A's already dwindling forces would be wiped out completely. After thinking deeply about all options, A fell into an endless loop of indecision, trapped without escape. Even the Hidden Clouds Village Jonin. His usually sharp and cunning tacticians. Now sat clueless and powerless. Even if their minds strained to conjure deceptive schemes like the empty fort strategy, upon spotting Hyuga ninja from the Hidden Leaf Village forces using their Byakugan to observe their movements, such intimidation tactics never saw the light of day. They died stillborn. Meanwhile, the Hidden Leaf Village forces calmly dispatched detachments to drive away Hidden Clouds Village squads lingering at a distance. At the same time, they rapidly established standard military setups. Fortifications and communication blocking barriers. Cutting off contact between the Hidden Clouds Village ninja inside the city and their hidden village headquarters in Raimai Canyon. Unwilling to remain disconnected, Hidden Clouds Village quickly released their own messenger hawks, but the moment the birds took flight, they were shot down midair by falcons sent by Hidden Leaf Village. Even the hawk corpses and attached messages were retrieved and brought straight back to the Hidden Leaf Village base. A watched all this unfold, his heart sinking deeper. Hidden Leaf Village's ambitions seemed truly vast. Hidden Clouds Village's mobilization hadn't even finished yet. The 3,000 weekend ninja currently deployed in the south were merely the first wave. Far larger reinforcements, many times their number, were now assembling and advancing. But therein lay the danger. If those follow-up troops lacked elite experts for protection, then once ambushed by Hidden Leaf Village forces, their entire army could collapse entirely. And when that happened, the Hidden Clouds Village ninja trapped in Hokone Prefecture would be utterly helpless. Like calling to heaven with no reply, and crying to earth with no response. All while under tight surveillance and surrounded with no escape route. As A remained deep in thought within the prefectural city, the encircling Hidden Leaf Village forces, having completed basic fortifications, used the downtime to rest and recover. They also sent updated battle reports to Hidden Leaf Village headquarters, demanding immediate reinforcements in preparation for a decisive confrontation with Hidden Clouds Village. Although the Hidden Leaf Village ninja force appeared mighty and invincible at this moment, continuously defeating Hidden Clouds Village units attempting to approach their command post. In truth, these fighters were relatively weak border defense troops originally stationed in the Land of Fire by Hyuga's Shu. Their seeming strength actually stemmed mostly from the direct participation of Shu himself and Sakamo Hatake. As for the Hidden Leaf Village ninja currently building up defensive positions, most of them were reinforcement units who had followed Sakamo Hatake during his ambush missions. Having just participated in the hunt for the Two-Tails Jinchuriki and the defeat of Hidden Clouds Village's cleansing forces, they had endured an arduous forced march. Now utterly exhausted, they occasionally dozed off on their feet while constructing traps and fortifications. The problem, however, was that due to Hidden Leaf Village's apparent meticulous planning, including deployment of communication blocking barriers and positioning Byakugan-wielding Hyuga ninja openly on the front line, the Hidden Clouds Village forces, unsure of Hidden Leaf Village's true capabilities, dared not act recklessly or attempt probing attacks to test their enemy's weakness. Thus, both sides passed through the first night of this siege filled with anxiety. But the biggest difference came the next morning. After a night's rest, the main Hidden Leaf Village forces quickly recovered much of their energy thanks to secret medicinal potions. Early the next day, they appeared energized and ready in front of their defenses, openly forming into groups and arranging into formations, clearly signaling their intent to launch a full-scale assault. The Hidden Clouds Village ninja trapped inside the city spent a sleepless night filled with anxiety. Far from getting proper rest, they stayed awake in fear of a nocturnal assault by Hidden Leaf Village, growing even more exhausted under the weight of their worries. Thus, after securing a decisive psychological victory, the balance of power decisively shifted in Hidden Leaf Village's favor. Hyuga's Shu and Sakamo Hatake's daring advance also won the blessing of the goddess of the Hour of the Rabbit. In the afternoon, two Hidden Clouds Village squads merged and attempted to penetrate the city through its relatively weak northern defenses, hoping to join forces with a stationed ninja force. However, once again led by Hyuga's Shu charging headlong into battle, the Hidden Clouds Village ninjas were defeated mercilessly, fleeing in disarray and leaving behind not only their armor but also the corpses of their comrades scattered across the battlefield. Witnessing the battle unfolding outside the city walls, the Hidden Clouds village ninja inside could only watch helplessly. The southern front. Hidden Leaf Village's main stronghold. Remained heavily fortified, with Hidden Leaf Village ninja poised for action at every moment. Despite the enemy being less than 3 kilometers away, they dared not launch a rescue mission, forced to observe as familiar faces fell one by one beneath Hyuga's shoes' ruthless onslaught. Damn it! I clenched his teeth so hard they nearly shattered. Whether considering Hidden Clouds Village's traditional spirit of unity and the will of lightning or his own honor as the Raikage heir, emotionally or rationally speaking, I had no reason to allow his comrades to be slaughtered so brutally right before his eyes by their bitter rivals from Hidden Leaf Village. Yet he had no choice. He had considered every possible strategy, and the best viable option left was to hold fast and await reinforcements, then stage a coordinated attack from inside and outside once the village army arrived. Thus wiping out these cold-blooded Hidden Leaf Village ninjas entirely. Even if Hidden Leaf Village launched a full-scale assault, though the defending Hidden Clouds Village forces would likely fail to fully repel such a powerful enemy, they could at least leverage the layered traps laid throughout the city to exact heavy losses from Hidden Leaf Village. In such a dire situation, even an exchange of one life for another would count as a gain. Lord A, please return to your tent and take a rest. One of his senior Jonin officers, unable to bear watching their allies defeat, stepped forward and urged gently, "We are here to guard you. There's no way those Hidden Leaf Village bandits will succeed in sneaking up on us. Please, get some rest. As long as our village reinforcement arrives, everything will turn around." Other senior ninja also joined in urging him forward, and finally, letting out a long sigh, submitted to the collective decision. For the turbulent and unsettled Hidden Leaf Village, the victory news arriving from the northern border was like the first ray of hope following the Land of Rain disaster. Although the Hidden Leaf Village F4, including 3rd Hokage Hiruzen and Saratobi, were reluctant in their hearts to widely praise Tsukumo Hatake. Revered as both the embodiment of the will of fire and a challenger to the Hokage's authority. They had no other choice. Right now, Hidden Leaf Village desperately needed a glorious tale capable of boosting the entire village's morale, encouraging common ninja to set aside personal gains and loyally serve the village, just like a powerful spiritual morale booster for the soul. Moreover, Hidden Leaf Village urgently required a decisive and overwhelming victory to prove itself to everyone, including the daimyo of the Land of Fire. That Hidden Leaf Village truly deserved its title as the greatest hidden village among all shinobi nations. Hidden Leaf Village was absolutely not unworthy of its reputation. As a result, on the very same afternoon that the good news reached Hidden Leaf Village, reports of Hidden Clouds Village's crushing defeat and the death of the Jinchuriki were delivered directly onto the desks of noble lords, courtiers, and leaders of all major hidden villages. Though Hidden Leaf Village had partly orchestrated the spread of this good news meant to be leaked to foreign spies hiding within the village, it still produced a clear effect. As early as that very night, Hyuga ninjas from the eastern camp reported back to the village. Ninjas who had been lurking and probing along the coastline had completely vanished. Meanwhile, Shirakawa and Amiko on the eastern front also noticed that Hidden Sand Village ninjas, previously gathering inside the Land of Wind as if preparing for trouble, had likewise lowered their flags and retreated. They had even abandoned their border defenses entirely, pulling back directly into their walled cities. This was the overwhelming deterrence brought about by the death of a Jinchuriki, regarded as an ultimate weapon. Without even needing the participation of a Kage, one could already kill a Jinchuriki. At the very least, it proved that Hidden Leaf Village could once again crush Hidden Sand Village, which only possessed the one tail, without deploying the 9 tails. The so-called strongest tailed beast. Therefore, Hidden Sand Village's choice wasn't hard to understand. Rather than continuing head-on toward certain defeat, it made more sense to march northward and fight their longtime rivals, Hidden Stones Village. At least they would be able to exchange blows evenly while also plundering resources to meet the needs of their hidden village. As for the abandoned Wind Country borderlands, both the Kazekage and the daimyo of the Land of Wind felt indifferent about them. For quite simply, the Land of Wind was just too poor. Invading Hidden Sand Village would certainly result in a losing proposition. In fact, even the 3rd Kazekage considered secretly dispatching an envoy to Hidden Leaf Village to seek an opportunity for signing an alliance and ending the war. However, after repeated deliberation, the 3rd Kazekage still believed he couldn't appear too desperate or humiliating. After all, it was originally Hidden Sand Village that had launched the invasion against Fire Country. Hidden Leaf Village wouldn't likely give in easily either. At the very least, Hidden Sand Village should wait until it expelled Hidden Stones Village from Bird Country and secured some guaranteed achievements before entering negotiations. Although overnight, the volatile border regions around the Land of Fire suddenly seemed peaceful, as if all was quiet on the western front, Hidden Leaf Village's F4 couldn't celebrate yet. After all, external enemies could still be united against the righteous appeals to morale, But dealing with Hyuga's Shu and Sakamo Hatake. Who were from the same village. Would prove far more complicated. It was no secret that Hiruzen Sarutobe had always intended to groom his favorite apprentice, Orochimaru, as his successor. A fact even Denzo was well aware of, despite his own long-standing desire for the Hokage title. The problem lay here: the name White Fang had already become a widely recognized icon of Hidden Leaf Village, and those ordinary shinobi, once treated like cannon fodder, had switched sides en masse, becoming fervent supporters of both Sakamo Hatake and Hyuga's Shu. Correspondingly, the influence of the Hokage faction within the village had clearly declined. Moreover, this decline currently seemed irreversible. Unless Hidden Leaf Village's front in the Land of Rain. Its second major battlefield. Suddenly turned around dramatically and shifted from defeat to victory. But such a scenario was nothing more than a dream. Even someone as arrogant and self-assured as Denzo would hesitate to speak such unrealistic words face to face with his old friend. Therefore, they had no choice but to confront the first issue following their victory. Reinforcement deployment. This is an official document co-signed by Sakamo Hatake and Hyuga's Shu, sent back to the village. The content was simple: commit Hidden Leaf Village's full ninja force for a decisive showdown against Hidden Cloud's village. Even if they couldn't achieve a glorious victory that would wipe out the enemy village completely, they should take this opportunity to break Hidden Cloud's village's backbone, keeping those northern brutes from looking south for 30 years. However, Hidden Leaf Village's F4 were not concerned about the battle outcome described by these two frontline commanders. What worried them more was the amount of power those already distrusted commanders might gain after mobilizing all of Hidden Leaf Village's ninja forces, and what kind of impact this would have on the village's future stability. That was the crux of the matter. After all, the F4 understood better than anyone how easily one could gain support, even worship, during wartime, especially when you were a strong warrior who could keep bringing victories. Their own power and status had been built through one bloody battle after another during the First Great Ninja War, though naturally they'd become somewhat complacent after reaching positions of authority. The Northern Front battle is inevitable. In the Hokage office, the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobe finally broke the long silence. And we can only win, failure is not an option. If this full-scale village battle failed, Hidden Leaf Village would certainly find itself surrounded by wolves once again. Is it really appropriate to entrust all our ninja forces to them? Though he knew it wasn't the best timing, Hamura Midokado still voiced his concern. What's appropriate or not isn't for us to decide, the situation demands it. The third Hokage had already considered the possibility of withdrawing troops, but after weighing the pros and cons, he chose to take the risk. Then change the commander. Denzo stood tall, his eyes burning as he stared at his old rival. The Rain Country engagement has lost its significance now. But this time, the third Hokage didn't even glance at Denzo, instead turning to face his other two old friends. Therefore, I plan to send Orochimaru and 2 other ninja to reinforce the northern front. What do you think? Agreed. Both nodded together. They understood their old friend perfectly well. This wasn't a consultation, it was notification, asking them to show support and identify any oversights. But we'll still need someone mature and steady to manage affairs in the Land of Rain. Koharu Utain immediately raised another point. That makes sense. Hamura nodded quickly. The third Hokage appeared deep in thought. Then, 3 pairs of eyes turned to Denzo, who stood there with his chest thrust out defiantly. I need 3,000 mobilized ninja. Denzo immediately made an outrageous demand. Not a single one will be given to you. The third Hokage's stance was equally clear. I won't touch the existing ninja forces either, you may command all of them exactly as they are. You? Denzo was practically furious. Isn't that just throwing him under the bus? Just tell me whether you accept or not. The third Hokage asked impatiently. I accept. Denzo agreed immediately. Chapter 142, Open Conflict and Hidden Struggles. By the 4th day of the siege, A, who had originally been filled with anxiety, was beginning to feel numb. After the Hidden Leaf Village ninja forces set up a communication blocking barrier and released numerous falcons to dominate the skies, the Hidden Clouds Village ninja stationed in Hakone City completely lost contact with their village. But what affected the morale of the Hidden Clouds Village ninja most was not the loss of communication itself. After all, communications were secret matters reserved for the command layer, not something ordinary ninja could access. Rather, it was the direct impact from witnessing their allies' defeats and facing the increasingly scarce supplies, which bred a sense of despair. Moreover, over the past 3 days, there hadn't been a single message from the Hidden Clouds village. Not even a large-scale reinforcement force nor a messenger ninja sneaking into camp to offer reassurance. This was also very strange. It even led some weak-willed Hidden Clouds village ninja to believe they had already been abandoned by their village. Especially after the Hidden Leaf village forces outside the city began launching random explosive tag bombardments inside the walls, The Hidden Clouds village ninja, driven nearly mad by the relentless harassment night and day, became gloomy and demoralized, their morale melting away like ice under the midday sun. Budo was out of options too. Without any reinforcement units arriving, he and his ninja forces were nothing more than fish on a chopping board, awaiting slaughter. Although he didn't simply sit idle, organizing elite teams to ambush the Hidden Leaf village forces in various ways during these past few days, each attempt was inevitably discovered in advance by those white-eyed ninja, ending without exception in heavy losses and hasty retreats. After such fruitless efforts, Un naturally had no desire to keep throwing lives away. Therefore, he and his senior Jonin shifted their focus to strengthening the city's defensive structures and started selecting and training suicide squads for street combat. Yet to those less intelligent mid to low-rank ninja, this change only reinforced their mistaken belief that they had already been abandoned. Consequently, some gave up entirely, just waiting for the end to come, while others grew indifferent, ignoring orders and breaking discipline. I did not indulge these lower-ranking ninja, though his methods were relatively simple and harsh. He merely ordered the suppression of dissent and enforced strict censorship on speech. As for the underlying ideological currents stirring secretly beneath the surface, he currently lacked the capacity to deal with them. Because before Hidden Clouds village reinforcements arrived, the appearance of a certain Hidden Leaf village squad caught A's attention, and its leader made him even more uneasy. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade. He wasn't unfamiliar with these three disciples of the Hokage. Though they had never met, A had thoroughly memorized detailed records of these powerful Hidden Leaf village Jonin long ago, so he was absolutely sure he hadn't misread this. Didn't they say the rain country? The Hidden Clouds village Jonin observing alongside A exchanged confused glances, unable to figure out what was happening. Before breaking into open warfare against the Hidden Leaf village forces led by Hyuga and Hatake, they had already received news about the crushing defeat suffered by Hidden Leaf village's Rain Country task force. And precisely due to this information, A had recklessly dispatched the Two-Tails Jinchuriki to lead part of the army on a cleanup operation. To serve as vanguard for the upcoming war. After all, if Hidden Leaf village could no longer defeat the Land of Rain, how could it possibly withstand Hidden Clouds village's heavenly forces descending from the north? The entire city would melt away like summer snow before Hidden Clouds village's divine fury with the mere flick of a finger. Or in other words, A's current predicament had been further deepened by the latest battlefield reports from the Land of Rain. But who could one possibly blame? Even now, A still couldn't understand. Every move he had made followed the strategy flawlessly and correctly, so how could it have led him to such a wretched position now? Victory is right within our grasp. Even Orochimaru, who seldom acknowledged others' abilities, couldn't help but exclaim. Before even observing Hidden Clouds village itself, Orochimaru had already dispatched summoning serpents from Richie Cave to infiltrate the city, comparing their intelligence findings against the battle reports provided separately by Hyuga and Hatake. After analyzing them, he found that instead of overstating the situation, both reports had actually downplayed it significantly. Airtight barrier seals cutting off all communications, omnipresent Byakugan surveillance, and mobile support units primarily composed of elite Jonin from powerful ninja clans. Just these three measures alone left Hidden Clouds village completely paralyzed inside the city. Though seemingly simple tactical arrangements, their execution was extraordinarily thorough beyond ordinary expectations. Orochimaru had always been renowned for his devious schemes and tactical brilliance. Whether in ninjutsu cultivation and research or in commanding ninja forces, he possessed unique insights. Among active duty Jonin in Hidden Leaf village, he was undoubtedly among the top tier. Yet even so, he had never commanded a ninja force this effortlessly. Encircling an enemy half their number, even when facing the Rain ninjas, who were reputedly weak. After analysis, he reaffirmed the extraordinary nature of bloodline limits, especially those from the famed Dujutsu clans, the Uchiha and the Hyuga. No one could carry out covert actions undetected under the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, just as no one could match an Uchiha ninja in single combat. Simply having these two revered ninja clans present was enough to nip every Hidden Clouds village plot in the bud before it could take root. Coupled with the stationing of formidable experts like Hyuga and Hatake, Orochimaru couldn't imagine any possible chance left for those trapped within. Unless Raikage III himself led a full-scale army to reinforce them. Otherwise, judging from the small-scale reinforcements currently arriving piecemeal, the Hidden Clouds village ninja inside the city were undoubtedly doomed. Since we've already cut off all communication and prevented any leaks, why not go all the way and eliminate everyone inside the city at once? Jiraiya shook his head, saying, if Hidden Clouds village's main forces arrive and the defenders coordinate with them from within, things will get extremely troublesome. The besieging forces might not even be fully recovered from their campaign yet. Tsunade snapped sharply. Haven't you even looked at the actual condition of the ninja force headquarters? It's irresponsible to speak recklessly like that. After arriving at the battlefield in the Land of Lightning, Tsunade was finally reunited with her lover Dan Kato. Since she had often heard him recount Hyuga's great exploits during their quiet evenings together, she naturally developed a subtle fondness for Hyuga, who had frequently looked after Dan. Of course, this wasn't romantic affection. It was simply the common tendency to care about what one's beloved cares for. What about those people at the base camp? Weren't they doing fine? Jiraiya asked somewhat confusedly. They've expended considerable strength attacking the Jinchuriki, Orochimaru explained, then turned toward the main command tent. So much time needs to be spent recuperating? It finally dawned on Jiraiya only now, looks like they didn't win easily either. No matter what, they ultimately won. Tsunade made her judgment as well, victory is victory, defeat is defeat. There's no ambiguous gray area here. You're right, Jiraiya couldn't help sighing, his heart heavy with melancholy. This was a truth no one could deny. Even if the official dispatch notice redeploying them from the rain border to the Land of Lightning battlefield was worded beautifully, it couldn't change the reality that the Sannin. The three disciples of the Hokage. Had essentially left their previous unit empty-handed. After reaching Hakone Prefecture City, although Sakamo Hatake still welcomed him warmly, the cold stares from Hyuga and other ninja clan members pierced through Jiraiya's sensitive heart. He was a man who had tasted bitter defeat. Worse still, he was a defeated ninja supported by a mentor but lacking noble clan origins. Among these arrogant ninja from established clans, such individuals represented exactly whom they despised most. As for those ninja belonging to the Hokage faction, they had suffered heavy losses during the battles against Tailed Beasts and Hidden Clouds Village's cleanup squads, and having been recently absorbed into new forces, under strict discipline and Hyuga's intimidation, they dared not show too much open association with the Sannin. The title given to them by Sanzuo Hanzo in a disdainful, condescending manner. To avoid provoking Hyuga's disfavor. However, unlike Jiraiya, Orochimaru always maintained unwavering resolve, indifferent to external matters, so he didn't care about what he considered childish exclusion, while Tsunade, immersed in sweet whispers shared with her lover after their reunion, cared even less about such trivial indifference. In fact, she almost wished to get rid of all the bureaucratic nonsense so nothing would interrupt her and Don's intimate talks. In contrast, the usually carefree Jiraiya seemed overly concerned about others' opinions. Yet beneath Jiraiya's rough exterior lay an extremely delicate soul, capable of understanding the nuances involved, and precisely because of this awareness, he felt the pain even more deeply. White Fang. Clan Ninja. My mentor. Watching his two comrades in arms gradually disappear into the distance, Jiraiya sighed deeply, then shook his head in resignation before following their path. The Cloud Ninja still haven't made any moves yet? Inside the temporary command center at the camp, Sakamo Hatake gazed at the map of the Land of Lightning with a furrowed brow, as if trying to spot something that wasn't there. Not yet. Hyuga, seated on one side of the tent, shook his head, equally puzzled. But what unsettled everyone most was this eerie silence. To everyone's understanding, Hidden Clouds Village had always seemed like a bunch of bullies who would push every advantage they could get, treating even the smallest setback as a loss. But their current unusual silence created an extremely oppressive atmosphere. Perhaps Hidden Clouds Village was planning a major surprise for Hidden Leaf Village. And that was exactly what everyone in the ninja forces believed. Huff. At that moment, Miharu Uchiha briskly lifted the tent flap and stepped inside. Her Jonin vest was stained with blood and slightly torn, clearly showing she had just come from intense combat. How did it go? Was it successful? Hyuga waved his hands lightly, and Miharu Uchiha walked straight over and sat on his lap. All targets have been neutralized. Miharu Uchiha removed her hair tie and shook her head. Her fragrant locks, carrying a faint scent of blood, brushed against Hyuga's face, stirring his already restless emotions even further. However, considering they were in public, sitting on his lap was already pushing the boundaries of propriety. So she shifted slightly to accommodate her weight, making it easier for her to settle comfortably. If that's settled, then those scattered Hidden Clouds Village squads outside won't be much of a threat anymore. Sakamo Hatake didn't look up, poring over the map of the Land of Lightning. Over the past 3 days, the restless Miharu Uchiha had personally led operations alongside Hyuga scouts, launching surprise attacks on scattered Hidden Clouds Village units attempting to breach the city defenses and successfully wiping out all these scattered threats. Even so, the Hidden Leaf Village ninja forces still couldn't get any useful information from the captured Hidden Clouds Village ninja through interrogation. After all, those Hidden Clouds Village ninjas who hadn't regrouped were operating beyond Hidden Leaf Village's communication blocking barrier. There was no reason for them not to contact headquarters for help. Yet the strangest part was that despite interrogating them, and despite those roaming Hidden Clouds Village squads repeatedly sending out ninja hawks, there had been absolutely no reply from headquarters. Not even the usual half-hearted reassurance. It was like the entire village had vanished into thin air. But to both Hyuga and Tsukumo Hatake, this might be a bad omen. Perhaps Hidden Clouds Village really was preparing something big. Maybe we should eliminate the remaining Hidden Clouds Village forces within the city sooner rather than later? Tsukumo Hatake finally raised his head, glancing at the increasingly unrestrained bear. Besides, this is the central war tent. We should still maintain some decorum here. What about a kill or capture? Hyuga calmly wiped off the lipstick mark Miharu Uchiha left on his face and asked calmly, also, when will reinforcements from the village arrive? Tomorrow. At that moment, Orochimaru and his team also entered the tent. 3,000? Tsukumo Hatake arched his eyebrows. Yes. Nearly every ninja available for emergency conscription has already been mobilized. Orochimaru nodded. Although public opinion in Hidden Leaf Village exalted Tsukumo Hatake as a defining figure of the era, praising him with sayings like "without the White Fang, Hidden Leaf Village would know no dawn," the Hokage Tower's suspicion and vigilance toward him had not lessened in the least. In fact, right around the time this reinforcement squad was dispatched, the Hokage Tower issued special orders appointing the Sannin. Disciples of 3rd Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi. As regimental commanders, each leading 1,000 Hidden Leaf Village ninja. This was an obvious move to strengthen the branches while weakening the trunk. An unwise decision, especially ill-suited for a time on the brink of war. If Tsukumo himself hadn't been so indifferent by nature when it came to political games, someone else might have already sparked a civil war. Hyuga paid no mind to those 3 of the Hokage's disciples. Instead, he turned his full attention to marking Miharu Uchiha's skin. Tomorrow works. Tsukumo's expression didn't change as he voiced his thoughts. Shu, what do you think about breaching the city walls tomorrow? What about a? Hyuga raised the same question once again. Everyone understood Hidden Clouds Village as traditions and recognized A's status. Capturing Hikone Prefecture was easy enough, but A being the Raikage heir made him the biggest problem to solve. Attempt to take A alive if at all feasible. Tsukumo rubbed his temples, setting clear limits. At minimum, we must preserve his life. Otherwise, it'll turn into an endless war with Hidden Clouds Village. I will inform my subordinates then. Nodding slightly, Hyuga signaled his lover to rise, then walked off without so much as a glance toward the Sannin. After all, everyone knew these 3 had come specifically to balance power. The fact that Shu refrained from cursing them aloud already counted as remarkable self-restraint. Naturally, he couldn't be bothered showing even basic courtesy. In that case, the camp defenses tomorrow will be left to you all. Tsukumo directed his gaze toward Orochimaru and the other 2. He had no intention of handing over opportunities for merit either, which was why he was eager to eliminate Hidden Clouds Village's final foothold in the southern land of lightning completely. Chapter 143, The Tragedy of Thunder and Cloud for Hidden Clouds Village's ninja. A new day started with non-stop explosions from explosive tags. Under the relentless bombardment from Hidden Leaf Village's forces, sleepy Hidden Clouds Village ninja rotated into position, following their Jonin leaders to relieve those who had just finished the night shift. As if they'd been pardoned from prison. Even when struck occasionally by flying debris from the blasts, the Hidden Clouds Village ninja remained indifferent, as if nothing had happened at all. It was now the 5th day, yet Hidden Leaf Village's harassment bombing with explosive tags hadn't stopped for even a moment. What affected morale the most was that some Hidden Clouds Village ninja, while picking up unexploded explosive-tagged shuriken launched by Hidden Leaf Village forces, shockingly discovered these were standard-issue Hidden Clouds Village tools. This meant Hidden Leaf Village had captured a large amount of Hidden Clouds Village ninja supplies, easing Hidden Leaf Village's own logistical difficulties during its long-range campaign. As for the source of these supplies, it could only mean one thing: a fully armed and well-supplied Hidden Clouds Village force had been defeated, or even wiped out entirely. Thus, with internal and external pressures unresolved, Hidden Clouds Village ninja morale plummeted drastically. Only 4 days of bombardment had turned the once resolute defenders into completely numb soldiers. Yet today's morning seemed somewhat different. What are those Hidden Leaf Village scum up to now? One Hidden Clouds Village ninja peeked his head out, gazing toward the distant Hidden Leaf Village front line. There, squad after squad of Hidden Leaf Village ninja were openly forming battle lines across the open wasteland, radiating a murderous intent that signaled an imminent full-scale assault. Never mind, just wait until they come closer. A Hidden Clouds Village Chunin also looked up briefly but showed no special reaction. They did the same thing a few days ago, and still, absolutely nothing happened. Just like firing explosive shurikens. They want to keep us running around exhausted. The Jonin from Hidden Clouds Village didn't even lift his head, chewing on dried meat as he spoke. By the way, if you're idle, go repair the outer perimeter traps. I didn't do anything. The nosy Hidden Clouds Village ninja quickly pulled his head back in, joining his companions on the ground, taking out the day's ration and beginning to eat. This feels a bit strange. Jiraiya, observing from the edge of Hidden Leaf Village's position toward Hakone Castle, asked in confusion. The ninja forces have already prepared for battle, so why does the Hidden Clouds village inside the city show absolutely no response at all? They must have simply gone numb by now, Orochimaru replied casually. But this is only the 4th day. Hidden Clouds village's fighting shouldn't have deteriorated that severely, right? Jiraiya still sounded puzzled. From his observation, the Hidden Clouds village ninja within the city showed not just low morale but even basic military discipline had nearly collapsed entirely. Even when Hidden Leaf Village's forces formed battle lines, the Hidden Clouds village ninja couldn't be bothered to cast a glance in that direction, appearing completely resigned to fate, as though already awaiting death. With such resilience under pressure, they couldn't even compare to rain or grass ninjas, let alone any of the 5 great shinobi villages. Internal strife and external threats, all communications severed, and reinforcements' arrival remains uncertain. Tsunade scoffed slightly and said, even if the village's ninja forces fell into such a predicament, would their situation be any better? That's somewhat true. Jiraiya raised his eyebrows slightly but didn't continue speaking. Not until noon did Hidden Leaf Village's ninja forces, lined up in formation in the wilds beyond the city walls, scatter noisily at their commander's order, finally allowing the Hidden Clouds village ninjas remaining on watch to completely relax. I told you guys. Except for putting on a show, those Hidden Leaf Village southerners don't have a shred of actual fighting courage. A lazy Hidden Clouds village Jonin lying on the ground soaking up the sun remarked casually, if they hadn't taken advantage to launch a surprise attack and trick us, we absolutely wouldn't have lost. That's right. That's right. Master Kazuma is correct. Other Hidden Clouds village ninjas nodded like puppets on cue, rushing to flatter, as long as Master Kazuma and Lord A remain stationed here, Hidden Leaf Village definitely won't dare act recklessly. Exactly. The Hidden Clouds village Jonin shifted slightly, moving his face into shadow to avoid direct sunlight, although currently due to numerical disadvantages, initiating an offensive puts us at a disadvantage. However, if we firmly defend, Hidden Leaf Village's small force cannot do anything to us. That's true. That's true. The Hidden Clouds village ninjas continuously agreed vocally. This scene left some slightly responsible Hidden Clouds village ninjas somewhat puzzled. Wasn't the truth actually that their side had been defeated and surrounded? But this thought barely flashed through their minds before being swiftly suppressed. That's right. It was Hidden Leaf Village who feared battle. Otherwise why would they keep surrounding us without attacking all this time? After all, their current situation had reached the pinnacle of hardship. Without such self-psychological comfort, probably their entire beings would collapse. As for those ninjas who had already broken down emotionally, after being taken away by the enforcement squad, they never reappeared in regular teams again. Few seeing the Hidden Leaf Village ninjas who were just putting on a show completely disband and return to camp, the responsible Hidden Clouds village ninja finally exhaled in relief, then slowly squatted down. PFFT, but suddenly a muffled sound came from behind him. Who just farted? Muttering discontentedly, this Hidden Clouds village ninja prepared to turn around, but his nose suddenly caught a familiar yet terrifying scent. The stench of blood. In an instant, his entire trench was filled with extremely thick blood-stained air, making it suffocatingly oppressive. Clang. The ninja blade tightly gripped in the Hidden Clouds village ninja's hand unintentionally slipped from his palm, producing a crisp sound. The lingering scent of blood in the air continuously overwhelmed his senses, rendering his body completely rigid and immobile. PFFT. PFFT. Muffled sounds continued coming from behind him, the bloody odor growing increasingly stronger, while this Hidden Clouds village ninja trembled under the influence of inexplicable fear. Then, he felt warmth spread downward along his lower body. Wet yourself? A voice full of mockery sounded from behind him. Immediately afterward, the sharp sensation pressed against his back disappeared. Turn around. A laid-back yet undeniably authoritative voice sounded once more. The lucky surviving Hidden Clouds village ninja trembled all over, slowly twisting his neck. His entire body had gone rigid with fear, the only parts still under his control being his head and neck. But as he turned his head, what met his eyes nearly scared the wits out of him on the spot. All his teammates were sprawled lifeless in pools of blood. Even that powerful Jonin, who had recently grown listless after suffering a defeat, now lay headless and murdered. He was the only one left alive on that hidden battlefield deep within the enemy base. This Hidden Clouds village ninja was practically scared out of his mind. Right in the middle of the blood-soaked scene, a silver-haired man calmly wiped the blade of his shining ninja knife. None other than Sakamo Hatake, Hidden Clouds village's sworn enemy. Beside him, 6 Uchiha ninja with black hair and red eyes, typical of Uchiha clan members, were inspecting the corpses, occasionally retrieving small hidden personal items from the bodies. Those unmistakable Sharingan Uchihas. Upon witnessing this sight, the Hidden Clouds village ninja rolled his white eyes and fainted dead away. How on earth did he manage to escape being killed on the spot by White Fang and the Uchihas? Or should we just finish him off randomly? An Uchiha ninja approached, wakizashi in hand, pretending as if he would send this unfortunate Hidden Clouds Village ninja straight to the afterlife. Keep him alive. He might turn out useful. Sakamoto Takeshi that is Tanto with evident satisfaction before continuing. Also, send a message to Hyuga's Shu. Hi. The Uchiha ninja wasted no time debating orders like this one, promptly obeying Sakamoto's command by sending a coded signal toward the rear. It finally begins. Hyuga relaxed slightly upon seeing the prearranged signal rise successfully into the sky. It wasn't without risk to send elite ninja force directly into Hidden Clouds Village's encampment. Under Hyuga Shu's leadership, the Hidden Leaf Village ninja force participating in this mission divided into two groups. One visibly began gathering openly while the true elite force stealthily advanced alongside Shu toward the city using Earth-style techniques. Yet not all the Hidden Clouds Village ninja inside were completely oblivious. In fact, as soon as the flare launched from the outer defenses rose into the sky, some of the more perceptive Hidden Clouds Village ninjas suddenly felt their hearts drop into an ice cellar. It's over. Completely ruined. While some clueless Hidden Clouds Village ninja made their way to the outer defenses to check out the disturbance, those who had sensed danger earlier wore expressions so pale they looked already dead. Fallen into complete despair. In the minds of these Hidden Clouds Village ninja, Hidden Leaf Village should have been gentle and obedient, willing to kneel for so-called peace. Precisely because of this kind of appeasement. Something that almost always happened. Generation after generation of Hidden Clouds Village ninja had been inspired to march southward, seizing water and land beneath the sun for their village. But why has expansion and progress suddenly become so difficult for their generation? Has the era changed? Just then, the Hidden Clouds Village ninja who had rushed to the outer perimeter positions caught a flash of silver-black light. Then all sensation ceased. They were beheaded in an instant. Meanwhile, the Hidden Clouds Village ninja inside the city also noticed the commotion at the outer defensive line and quickly headed toward the command post to report. At the same time, the elite ninja force led by Hyuga Shu plunged into the ranks of the Hidden Clouds Village forces. Their entire covert advance went off without a hitch. No resistance at all. It was like a stroll through the countryside. And just like that, the war exploded into chaos. Hyuga Shu leaped straight into the thick of the Hidden Clouds Village ninja, ruthlessly cutting down their seasoned veterans one after another. Then, guided by the defecting Hidden Clouds Village ninja, he launched a swift assault toward the location of the Hidden Clouds Village command post. Shortly afterward, the second wave of Hidden Leaf Village's elite ninja who had infiltrated alongside Hyuga Shu and hidden themselves around the city outskirts emerged from underground, fully prepared. Under their respective Jonin commanders, they initiated a full-scale offensive. Honorable One. Inside the Hidden Clouds Village command post, a Hidden Clouds Village Jonin nervously spoke up, shouldn't you consider? Enough. Raikage interrupted sharply. After destroying every sensitive document he could get his hands on, A's mental state had visibly improved. Ultimately, the miracle he had hoped for never arrived. Instead came a relentless, full-speed ninja assault. Boom. 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 As the sounds of explosions grew closer, A's mood unexpectedly calmed. What was bound to happen has finally happened. Even though this outcome was the most unwelcome. Trapped in dire straits, there was no longer room for well-meaning lies that offered hope. Not bad indeed. Being able to maintain such rare composure even now, one of Hidden Clouds Village clan's high-ranking leaders. Hyuga Shu barged alone directly into the Hidden Clouds Village command center wielding a blood-streaked torch pole, glaring fiercely with his Byakugan at his final target for this battle. The Raikage heir, the fourth successor, A. Oh no. Not you again. O was slightly surprised at first, but when he saw Shu's white eyes, realization dawned. Makes sense. After all, being Uchiha's Ronin husband, your nose must be particularly sharp. You clueless fool. Shu snorted coldly and chose to start fighting immediately. Shifting body technique, although his wounds hadn't completely healed yet, activated a secret technique regardless of potential side effects, going all out. Simultaneously, the pain surging through his body became increasingly vivid, while his available power surged dramatically within a short span. Nevertheless, even under normal, healthy conditions, A still couldn't match Hyuga Shu. And how much more so now, in his severely weakened state. Therefore, even though he used various stimulating secret techniques, during direct confrontation with Shu, A rapidly fell into complete disadvantage. Counterstorm, Hyuga Shu activated the skill head-on amidst A's taijutsu assault. Dangerous. As his punch missed, A recognized the familiar pressure of wind barrier. And knew trouble was coming. He tried to break away fast. But it was already too late. Counterstorm second activation, as a strange chakra ripple spread outward, A's body involuntarily sank into dizziness. Soon after, A sharp pain shot through the back of his head. His consciousness faded along with it, and he blacked out. Pack this guy up nicely. Understood? Don't let him die. After knocking A unconscious with a heavy strike, Hyuga summoned a squad of ninjas and issued orders. Without missing a beat, he eagerly charged forward, swinging his torch pole once again into battle. Having effortlessly eliminated A. who acted as their command center. The Hidden Clouds Village ninja were now utterly leaderless and had completely become walking corpses doomed to die. But Shu had no interest in asking them to give up. To him, those Hidden Clouds Village ninja were just moving targets packed with XP and coins. Kill. 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 Chapter 144 Level 12 for Hyuga's Shu. After a thrilling and massive carnage, Hyuga had finally leveled up. This time, he allocated his new skill point into his Q ability, Jumping Slash, bringing his skill levels to 3-3-4-2. With this upgrade, combined with cooldown reductions from items like the Triforce and Hunger Hydra, Shu could now keep the cooldown of his displacement-capable Q ability at around 3 seconds. Even when facing enemies he couldn't beat head-on, he could simply place a ward and jump away to escape. This also significantly boosted Hyuga's ability to dominate weaklings. Even against persistent foes, he no longer needed to get stuck in drawn-out fights. He could just use Jumping Slash and escape, then return unexpectedly once he'd gained enough advantage to secure the kill. In short, compared to his already overwhelming strength against weaker opponents, as his level continued to rise, his killing speed skyrocketed. At least against ordinary Takebutsu Jonin, he could one-shot them easily. For regular ninja in the ninja world, that was already terrifyingly strong. However, Hyuga's weaknesses were still very clear. Aside from his lack of ninjutsu proficiency, he struggled against massive beasts like tailed beasts or summoned creatures from the three Holy Lands. His abilities were severely tested. But overall, it wasn't too serious an issue. After all, tailed beasts and sacred summons were extremely rare. Most ordinary ninja might never even see one in their entire lives, let alone think about how to fight such colossal monsters. More importantly, Shu had once again managed to save up 2,350 gold. This time, he decided to sell 2 unused red potions and purchased a Taffel's hammer for 1,100 coins. Though this new gear didn't offer much power boost, it could later be used as part of composite equipment to build advanced fighter items like the Black Cleaver or Alchemical Punk Chainsaw Sword. Even if adjustments became necessary later, reselling it wouldn't result in significant loss once he saved enough for a full item. So yeah, this was all about maximizing combat strength in the short run, turning saved-up coins into real fighting power ASAP. This was exactly what Hyuga, always on edge, strongly believed in. As for whether the chosen build made perfect sense, truth was, he couldn't afford to overthink it right now. Besides, the ninja he faced weren't number-driven beings. Usually, as long as he broke through their defense, he could finish them off in one hit, so his need for raw attack power wasn't urgent. It was about halfway through the second day by the time they fully captured Hakone Prefecture City and eliminated the last pockets of resistance from Hidden Clouds Village ninja. During the clearing of Hidden Clouds Village's final defensive position, Mahiru Uchiha unexpectedly captured a severely wounded Hidden Clouds Village messenger ninja. At that time, the unfortunate messenger ninja was already on the brink of death, which was why the Hidden Clouds Village ninjas entrenched in the fortifications did not help him fulfill his duty to die with honor as a Hidden Clouds Village ninja. As a result, he barely survived, saved for the moment by Hidden Leaf Village's medical ninja. Upon discovering his identity, medical ninja including Tsunade all sprang into action, spending nearly 3 hours bringing him back from the edge before immediately interrogating him. Given Tsunade's unmatched skill in medical ninjutsu, as long as she refused to let someone die, not even the Shinigami would easily claim that life. Therefore, this lucky Hidden Clouds Village survivor, upon realizing his predicament, decisively chose betrayal and promptly revealed all classified intelligence he had to avoid further suffering. As for his additional request for protection, Tsukumo Hatake agreed to it considering the value of the information he provided. What exactly is going through Hidden Clouds Village's mind? However, even after obtaining Hidden Clouds Village's current movements, Hyuga Shu, Tsukumo Hatake, and the 3 Hokage disciples still felt puzzled inside their ninja headquarters set up among the ruins of Hakone Prefecture City. According to the confession from the surrendered Hidden Clouds Village messenger ninja, corroborated by testimonies extracted from other captured Hidden Clouds Village ninjas, over the past several days there had been not so much as a single message received by the defending Hidden Clouds Village ninja force stationed within Hakone Prefecture City from their village headquarters. In other words, during those 6 or 7 days from the siege to the fall of the city, whether it involved supplies, personnel, or even verbal encouragement, Hidden Clouds Village had offered absolutely no support whatsoever to the defending forces inside the city. A highly unusual situation. Most importantly, the Raikage heir, had been staying within the city all along. Therefore, Orochimaru, unwilling to take any chances, specifically interrogated A, who'd been captured by Hyuga's Shu. Although interrogation threats and physical torture yielded nothing useful, they at least confirmed the authenticity of his identity. Anbu, Root, and the Intelligence Division have received no information coming out of Hidden Cloud's village. Orochimaru, who remained in constant contact with the village, raised a concern. Moreover, although prices recently in the Land of Lightning have risen somewhat, the increase has merely resulted from typical wartime inflation. There are no signs indicating a sharp surge caused by large-scale procurement. Intelligence doesn't only come from direct eavesdropping or stealing confidential documents. Trends in prices for daily necessities like rice and oil, as well as ninja tools such as kunai and explosive tags, can partially reflect a village's current war readiness status. What was truly strange, though, was that ever since Hyuga's Shu defeated the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, not a single Hidden Leaf village intelligence agent could get into Hidden Cloud's village. Even regular merchants. Those who usually moved between countries with missions or supply convoys. Were unable to return to Hidden Cloud's village. Almost as if the entire village had gone silent overnight, cutting off all contact with the outside world. This sudden isolation inevitably raised suspicions about Hidden Cloud's village's true intentions. And this was precisely what made both Hyuga's Shu and Sakamo Hatake abandon their original plan of besieging the city to draw out reinforcements, a classic tactic of luring enemy forces out for ambush, shifting instead toward targeted strikes and preparing for potential trench-style warfare. The second wave of reinforcements has already arrived, someone reported. After a moment's calculation, Sakamo Hatake spoke, with 5,000 battle-ready shinobi now under our command, we should be able to proceed north without major issues. Continuing north would likely require authorization from the daimyo first, another voice suggested. Tsunade, however, had a different opinion. The secular belongs to the secular world, and ninja affairs belong to the ninja. The daimyo has no right to interfere in the shinobi world. Frowning slightly, Hyuga's Shu added, moreover, the daimyo's role is to govern the nation and allocate funding. He shouldn't meddle in hidden village matters. That's bordering on disrespect. Tsunade's expression visibly darkened. Unlike other powerful clans such as the Uchiha or Hyuga, the Senju clan was one of the original founding powers behind both the Land of Fire and the modern structure of the ninja world. Though the mighty Senju had faded into obscurity after the First Great Ninja War, they still held unwavering loyalty toward maintaining the hidden village and corresponding nation system. Naturally then, upon hearing Shu's disrespectful remarks, Tsunade had no intention of giving him a pleasant look. Tsunade-heim, we're discussing serious military strategy here. Not some childish make-believe ninja game, said Hyuga's Shu in his usual tone, though clearly implying that she was acting immature. And Hokage-sama hasn't ordered us to withdraw or sit idle either, has he? Sakamo quickly interjected. Tsunade's expression darkened further. Shu couldn't help but feel puzzled. Hadn't he already shown considerable courtesy? Hadn't he gone out of his way to protect even Dan Kato, the backup son-in-law from Tsunade's own clan, saving him from a death that should have occurred according to past life memories? Why did this woman insist on opposing him? Was she really going to keep showing hostility like this? Or was she jealous of how close he had become with the Uchiha clan? Thinking this, Shu's face also grew grim. Regarding intelligence reports from the border units, I must ask Shu-kun for extra effort in arranging enough reconnaissance personnel to uncover whatever plans Hidden Cloud's village may be hatching. Feeling the tension rise, Sakamo quickly stepped in to diffuse things. We'll continue tomorrow. We haven't had proper rest since the fighting started yesterday. Let's go, let's go. Miharu eagerly tugged at Shu's sleeve like a child begging. Then we'll reconvene tomorrow. After gently kissing Miharu-chan's forehead, Shu ignored everyone else in the tent as he left with Miharu-chan by his side. They had been fighting non-stop for days. High time they took a break and treated themselves a little. It wasn't until noon the next day that the exhausted Hyuga Shu finally emerged from his tent. Immediately, he ordered Takahiro Uchiha, who oversaw intelligence operations, to increase surveillance on Hidden Cloud's village's headquarters while dispatching subordinates across the countryside to gather supplies. Meanwhile, Sakamo continuously communicated with the village using ninja hawks, requesting additional forces and provisions to counter Hidden Cloud's village's impending thunderous strike. No matter what the intelligence reports said, everyone remained on high alert. Meanwhile, following Sakamo Hatake's arrangements, Kaorio Jonin took command of the former Hokage faction's reinforcement units and dispatched forces northward to attack various cities in the Land of Lightning. Surprisingly, though the number of Hidden Leaf village ninja advancing nervously northward wasn't large, they smoothly captured 3 cities along the route, their forces even pushing straight toward the daimyo's court in the Land of Fire. Had it not been for their encounter with the Lightning Daimyo's guardian ninja forces, which forced the outnumbered Hidden Leaf Village Northern Force to retreat voluntarily, a small number of Hidden Leaf Village ninjas might have actually reached Kyoto without trouble. But this situation was extremely unusual. Although having other ninja organizations outside the Hidden Village system within a great nation was nothing rare. For example, the Daimyo's guardian ninja, or clans like the Tsuchigamo within the Land of Fire and the Funa clan inside the Land of Herbs, which are free ninja groups officially recognized and monitored by the hidden villages. These were all among the legally existing ninja organizations. In addition, there were also underground ninja groups such as black market ninjas and bounty hunters that operated in secrecy. Even so, these unconventional forces shouldn't have taken the battlefield during inter-village warfare. Take the Daimyo's guardian ninja, for instance. Though their combat capability wasn't bad, they didn't technically constitute the country's official military power and should be regarded only as the Daimyo's private army. Theoretically speaking, before Hidden Cloud's village was completely destroyed, they shouldn't actively engage in battle. And no one had the slightest idea what Hidden Cloud's village was up to. 7 days after capturing Hikone Prefecture City, Hidden Leaf Village's ninja forces had completed all fortifications along their front line but still hadn't seen any trace of Hidden Cloud's village. Just as Sakamo Hatake and Hyuga were indecisive about their next move, the Hidden Leaf Village command post stationed in the southern part of the Land of Lightning finally received top-secret intelligence delivered simultaneously from the Border Forces Intelligence Unit and the Hidden Leaf Village Anbu. The Eight Tails has gone berserk. Damage to the village is severe, and it probably won't be able to wage war again anytime soon. This piece of intelligence finally cleared up the lingering doubts everyone had held from the start. It turned out that Hidden Cloud's village wasn't secretly preparing some grand plan, but rather hiding inside their base nursing wounds after suffering an internal crisis to prevent news of disaster from spreading. Their total silence from the outside world wasn't due to secret mobilization of ninja forces, but a cover-up meant to conceal the aftermath of the tailed beast's rampage. What a ridiculous reason. Tsushu couldn't help but sigh, covering his forehead. Everyone present inside the command tent exchanged glances, somewhat reluctant to believe what they heard. Is it really that simple? Come on. So all those worries the past few days were for nothing? The weight that had weighed heavily on their hearts finally lifted safely, leaving many experienced jonin feeling oddly hollow, unsure of how to react. So then, Tsushu broke the silence again. While they're down, kick him hard. Takahiro Uchiha, the one who personally brought back this crucial intelligence, immediately shouted, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If we let Hidden Cloud's village recover its strength, it'll be extremely difficult to launch another northern campaign. Senior Officer Takahiro, don't forget something important. It's only because Hidden Cloud's village opened up again that we were able to get this intel." The Anbu squad leader named Bull immediately countered, "We still don't have concrete information about what's really happening in Hidden Cloud's village. How can we recklessly urge the ninja forces into battle so hastily? I remember you." Takahiro Uchiha's face darkened instantly as he glared at the Anbu captain arguing against him. "Aren't you the one who used to lead patrols around the policing department and near our clan's territory?" "I'm only following orders from the Hokage." Squad leader Bull replied bluntly without defending himself against Takahiro's accusation, stating frankly instead, "Furthermore, continuing northward would inevitably lead to confrontation with Raikage himself. One of the 5 Kage. The casualties from such a conflict would be unbearable for the village. This isn't the place where Anbu has the authority to speak like this." Hyuga cut directly across Bull's words, turning towards Sakamo Hatake. "Sakamo-kun, this is our shot. We can't miss it. Now's the time to crush Hidden Cloud's village once and for all. Let this slip, and we'll never get another chance." Thinking about it another way, if Hidden Cloud's village went dark to hide what happened with the Eight Tails rampage, they must have taken some serious internal damage. From that perspective, continuing the northern campaign did seem like a great move at this moment. Even so, Sakamo Hatake hesitated to make a decision. It truly was an impossible choice. Just like the sudden change in Hidden Cloud's village itself, this had left Sakamo completely trapped between a rock and a hard place. Chapter 145, Heaven gives its chances. Fail to seize them, and regret follows when Hyuga and Miharu Uchiha, refreshed and walking briskly, return to the central war tent of the temporary command center after finishing their tasks. A group of jonin from the border forces had already been waiting outside the tent for quite some time. "Honorable Lord Tsushu." The jonin assembly bowed in unison, perfectly synchronized. "There's no need for such elaborate bows. Enter." Hyuga replied calmly, then led Miharu Uchiha and the border force jonin into the tent. Since the meeting was to be a military conference attended by all jonin, the interior layout of the tent had been adjusted accordingly. All unnecessary decorations had been completely removed and replaced with small ornamental floor cushions that took up minimal space. The only remaining decoration was the map of the Land of Lightning behind Sakamo Hatake. Seated behind the upper seat where Sakamo Hatake sat was a familiar face. Jonin Kaorio. There were also 2 positions left open on his left side, one front and one back. While the tent was filled to capacity with Jonin seated shoulder to shoulder, a significant space remained unoccupied in the left front portion. On the right-hand side directly opposite them sat Orochimaru's faction. The Hokage disciples. And beside them, the newly arrived bull, captain of the Anbu division, who had just reached the front line as an intelligence envoy. At first glance, the arrangement appeared clearly demarcated and filled with tension. 35 seats. Hyuga's Shu quickly scanned the room, immediately understanding the seating arrangement of all present factions. The 35 vacant seats represented exactly the number of Jonin under his command eligible to attend the military conference. You've arrived.